it will hand off and try to get the touchdown is Donnie Rosso, and the fullback has scored. So the St. Peter's Peacocks in this inaugural MAC Conference game marched down the field some 54 yards for the touchdown, Marty. And what a nice drive quarterback Anthony Guma led.
And it was a very controlled drive. They started it at their own 46. 10 plays later, they're in the end zone. Guma did an excellent job controlling the offense.
And there's a happy coach, Roy Miller. His club 7-2 last year, moving over to play some tougher opposition. Now the extra point try coming here. Kelvin Johnson is the holder. Guma to try the extra point. It is up, and it is good. So the St. Peter's Peacocks, a club known more for their defense last year, Marty, coming out with a very strong drive and doing it without their preseason All-American Ray Marshall, their great wide receiver, had financial aid problems. He's not in the lineup. He's on the sideline. We'll get a glimpse of him later, number 21. But a good drive, and it was capped off by this touchdown run from Donnie Rossi.
Well, Guma was the main man right there. He takes control. He hands off. Russo runs right into the line, scores the touchdown. And when you have an athlete, Barry, like Guma, he can kick that extra point. He's the punter. He's the big man on the field tonight.
We are at Redmond Field on the campus of St. John's University. And again, we apologize for the picture difficulties and perhaps audio problems that we may incur during the evening. But we are on the air, and we're very thankful for that and hope that you will enjoy MAC Conference football as the St. Peter's Peacocks strike early and do it very effectively as they had 9 plays, 54 yards. Donnie Rosso, the big 5'9", 220 Bulldog, going over on a 2-yard run. And St. John's finds themselves down as our official crew tonight, led by referee Richard Stanley and his fine crew with umpire Frank Bellanzano, head linesman John Drennan. And there's Bob Ricca, maybe a little bit surprised St. Peter's coming out and moving the ball that effectively.
Well, when we talked to Bob Ricca this week, he said he didn't know what to expect from St. Peter's, and he really didn't know what to expect from his own squad.
This ball fielded upfield, taken by Tom Kilfeather. And Kilfeather, the up man, will return it to the 34-yard line. A lot of pushing and shoving going on. John Weisburn, number 26, getting in on the tackle. And we'll look at this high-powered Redmond offense led by Sean Sharkey and one of the leading rushers in the nation. We've got Anthony Russo to keep an eye on, number 21.
Well, look for Anthony Russo to carry the ball anywhere from 25 to 35 times. He's the horse. He's averaged over 1,000 yards the last 3 seasons, and he's been the MVP of this team for the last 3 seasons.
They've got 2 fine wide receivers at Anthony Iadivio, 25, Tommy McPherson, 87. They'll work out of the I formation. The quarterback, Sean Sharkey, came on late last year, had 18 touchdown passes. The handoff to Russo, and he is jammed up by Dan Roman, number 70, the 6'1", 255-pound sophomore, leading that very young defensive line.
Well, it's a young defensive line, but remember, Bob Ricketts said if there was a big question mark coming into this season, it wasn't the skilled position, it wasn't the quarterback, it wasn't Russo, it's that offensive line he had.
Sean Sharkey, you see him, number 18, 54% completion average last year, 18 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, and really came into his own late in the season after a rather inconsistent career here at St. John's. Play action, he'll roll right, he's a good runner. Fakes, gets by one man, has 10 yards, and has the first down out of bounds up and around the 47-yard line as he was run out by the excellent safety, Scott Bailey, number 42. Taking a look at that St. Peter's defense, awfully young, 2 freshmen on that front line, and Lewis and Gilder coming out of New Jersey high schools. The linebacking core led by William Bryant, a preseason All-American, a transfer from Nebraska. And the secondary with Latoro Yates and Scott Mailer, the experienced safeties, and they're 2 dandies. But a good run by Sharkey to get the first down up and around the 47-yard line. Bryant moving all over the field, number 29. They'll freelance with him, and Sharkey didn't like the way the defense looked, called a timeout.
Well, it's better than making a mistake, and I think that the first thing that he realized, he looked up, the 25-second clock was about ready to hit 0. You don't want to take a penalty this early in the game.
There's Bob Rickett talking with Sean Sharkey. He says he's liked his demeanor more now. He's become a more confident leader, something that he lacked earlier in his career, Marty.
And he also said that right now Sharkey can recognize when a defense is changing coverage. Right there, the play before, when he got outside the tackle, the coverage was in his zone. He knew that they were going to stay back, so he ran for the first down.
Well, this young man from Valley Stream Central High School, kind of interesting that both his wide receivers, Tommy McPherson and Anthony Iadivio, were teammates of his. You don't often find that, the high school quarterback bringing along his two receivers.
And that's got to be a great relationship. They played 4 years of high school with these guys, now 4 years of college. They build that trust, they build a relationship, and it's like you can feel for one another. When Sharkey gets in trouble, he goes back, he's going to look for McPherson, he's going to look for these guys, and he's going to know right where they are.
Well, Sharkey, one of his assets that has gotten improved upon is his decision-making, as Marty said, understanding the defense and the offense better. 1st and 10 at the 47-yard line. Out of the pro set, Iadivio and Costello are the running backs. Sharkey looking a quick in pattern, looking for McPherson, number 87. Well covered on the play, and it goes incomplete. Defending on the play was the cornerback, Lonnie Cody.
Well, Barry, we talked about recognition. You see what Sharkey does in the beginning of the play. He grabs his jersey. He looks out at McPherson. He audibles at the line of scrimmage. Right there, just an excellent defensive play.
The secondary, also an experienced 6 freshmen start on this St. Peter's team defensively. 3 sophomores and the 2 senior cornerbacks. Single setback, 4 wide receivers on 2nd and 10. Good drop, Sharkey throwing out of the hands of Charlie Broadway. Chuck Broadway open in the flat. It goes incomplete. It'll be 3rd down.
And there's a perfect situation. Broadway's got to look the ball, and he's got an open field behind him, but you can't run the ball so after you catch it.
Setting up a 3rd and 10. You see Broadway out of North Babylon High School on Long Island checking out of the ball game. St. John's has a young receiver. They're very high on John O'Leary, a freshman. He may see action tonight. He's a speedster. Sharkey working out of the eye on 3rd and 10. Movement, Bryant looked like he almost went offside. No flag. Sharkey likes the sprint out, throwing on the run. It is going to be at the 40-yard line, incomplete. Defending on the play was Lou Zampella, but the pass ruled incomplete as he was trying to go once again to Tommy McPherson, who had a big year last year with 14 touchdown passes.
And you can see what St. Peter's is trying to do. They're going to try to pressure Sharkey, and they're going to try to put St. John's in a passing situation. Reason number 1, Barry, they want to take Russo out of the game. Right there, we've only seen Russo run the ball 1 time, and he was taken back for a 1-yard loss.
No question that's a key to stopping this club. Joe Parker to do the punting. Average 32 yards. High snap. It has trouble, but will get it away. Angling it to the sideline. It'll be fielded on the run by Kelvin Johnson, and he's hit hard at the 27-yard line. Timeout of the field. We'll be right back.
St. John's University football is brought to you by AC Delco Automotive Parts. AC Delco, it's like buying time.
New York Institute of Technology, the college where great careers begin. Over 60 majors for undergraduate, graduate, and adult students. Small classes, personal attention, and state-of-the-art technology. 3 convenient locations on Long Island, scenic Old Westbury, and residential campus at Islip, and our Manhattan campus near Lincoln Center. Call 1-800-345-NYIT. That's 1-800-345-NYIT.
Still the greatest city in the world. What better place for a great university? A university with the largest college of pharmacy undergraduate enrollment in the country. One of the top law schools. And nationally accredited colleges of business whose programs are designed to meet the challenge of today's global economy. Yes, the city is New York, and the university is St. John's.
Barry Landers along with Marty Lyons and Carl Reuter back at St. John's Field, where St. Peter's with 8:44 to go in the first quarter, leading by a score of 7-0. And again, we hope that the picture problems have been alleviated and hope that you will enjoy the rest of tonight's game. 1st and 10 at the 28-yard line for the St. Peter's Peacocks as they hand off, and a good-looking run by Jakes has the first down to the 45-yard line. A pickup of around 16 yards before he's brought down on the play. St. John's Ray Lambright finally stopping him, but what a quick burst by Jakes, who was injured a lot of last year.
And Pat Jakes, he just takes the ball, Barry. It's a simple handoff. But what makes this play so successful is the way number 7, Anthony Guma, carries out. He takes the fake. He holds the linebackers at home.
Guma, an excellent athlete. Started his career at Montclair State, transferred, played last year, threw 16 touchdown passes, a school record. St. Peter's looking sharp in the early going. This time, Donnie Rosso going close to the first down, about a 9-yard pickup, and they're running right up the gut on this St. John's defense.
And Rosso, all he does is he hurdles all that mess right at the beginning, Barry. He jumps over the offensive, defensive lineman, and picks up 8 strong yards. Now that puts St. Peter's in a 2nd and 2. It's almost a waste down. They can throw the ball up because they can always come back, and it'll still be 3rd and 2.
Ralph Taco on that stop. Al Bruno, number 68, is checked into the lineup. He was an all-conference player that played hurt most of last year. He's not in the greatest shape, has had problems with his toe, and had surgery. He's in the game to try to stop the run on 2nd and 2. Here's the pitch once again. This is Jose Canella, the speedy freshman. He has the first down on the sweep inside the 40 to around the 38-yard line.
And what they're doing now, Barry, very good play selection. They're running Jackson and Rosso up the middle. And when you have a guy like Canella that can have, he's got the 4.5 speed to take the ball outside. It takes a lot of pressure off Guma right now. And Bob Rick has got to be very disappointed in his defensive line right now. They're not making anything happen.
Ronnie Canella has excellent speed, as we saw in that play, 4.5 speed. Now Canella will line up as a wide receiver to the left, slot right formation, single setback. On 1st and 10, handing off to that setback and trying to get the first down as Donnie Rosso picks up 5. Steve Dombrowski, number 71 on the tackle. But St. Peter's has mixed it up awfully well here tonight on their first 2 drives, Marty.
And the one thing you got to like about Donnie Rosso, he's wearing number 31. He's 5'9", 220 pounds. He's a strong runner, and he doesn't fumble.
Who had that number before? Is that Jimmy Taylor's number?
There's been a lot of great 31s.
Right now, Frank Ranieri will wind up wide to the left. He's replacing Ray Marshall, the preseason All-American, who's not in the lineup tonight because of financial aid problems. Guma will be in trouble running. He's a nifty runner. Gets about 4 or 5 to around the 33-yard line. Stopped by Al Bruno, the 6 foot 260-pound senior out of Xavier High School in Brooklyn. Well, he was awfully quick, Marty. One of the quickest linemen Bob has had here, Bob Ricca, till he got hurt. Mr. Bruno.
And they're expecting him to come back, Barry, and play as healthy as he did before he had that injury.
Well, he, of course, along with Ray Lambright, a couple of guys they're counting on, and linebacker Chris Carew. Carew and Lambright were both hurt in the opening game against Iona last year. 3rd and let's call it about 5. Boomer rolling left, throwing on the run. Ranieri bobbling and finally comes up with the catch. First down inside the 20-yard line. His first catch as a St. Peter's Peacock, the junior from Hoboken, New Jersey. A good possession receiver, bobbled it, but then had the presence of mind to hold on.
Just excellent concentration, but watch Guma. He rolls out to his left, throws with his right arm, delivers the ball. Great concentration from his receiver.
Now, right now, Ronnie James has checked out of the ball game. He's the tight end. Kelvin Johnson will line up as a flanker to the left, Ranieri to the right. Guma 3 for 3 for 44 yards. Here's the pitch to Canella. This time St. John's had the play diagnosed, and he'll be stopped at the line of scrimmage. Al Bruno and Steve Diamikis getting in, number 17. He broke up the play initially, and then Chris Carew, number 41, wrapped him up.
Well, Diamikis comes in from the outside, Barry. He hits the runner, and there's no way for Canella to run.
Diamikis is a freshman from East Islip, Boomer Esiason School, and they rave about him here at St. John's. This is a kid they think is going to be a real impact player over the next 4 years in his career. He's 6'2", 202 pounds. 2nd and let's call it 9. Kelvin Johnson wide to the left, Ranieri to the right. Guma to throw. and throws incomplete. A lot of red shirts around that ball as he was looking for Kelvin Johnson.
Well, the one thing we saw right there, Guma only takes a 3-step drop. There's some big offensive linemen, big defensive linemen, both pushing against one another. Guma's going to have to go back 5 yards, relax, let the play develop, and then deliver the ball.
That ball appeared to be tipped on the way, so they'll set up 3rd and long yardage here. Well, about 3rd and 10. In case you're just tuning in, 4:34 to go. In the first quarter, St. Peter's leading St. John's 7-0 the inaugural game of the MAC Football League. New league formed to cost containment football. Timeout will be taken right now by St. Peter's to talk things over. And it's been an impressive showing for St. Peter's coming off the 7-2 season last year. And this inaugural game for the MAC Football League, you've got St. John, St. Peter's we're seeing tonight. Iona, which won earlier today, also in the league. And there's a look at Anthony Guma, young man they're very high on. And let's go down to the field right now. In just a moment, we'll be joining our colleague, Carl Reuter, who's working with us tonight. Roy Miller talking on the sideline with Anthony Guma, young man out of St. Peter's Prep, Jersey City native. You know, speaking about Roy Miller, what a job he's done recruiting those Hudson County school kids. He's a high school coach in the past there, coached at Jersey City State. He's really brought in a lot of good players in his 3 years.
And the one thing he's doing right now, Barry, he's developing tradition there. He's taking the young high school kids, he's making them stay close to home. He overcame a great battle with cancer, and he's out here tonight.
Got a clean bill of health this week after battling colon cancer. Here's Carl on the field.
Barry, you know, when you talk about inspirational stories, you have to talk about St. Peter's College coach Roy Miller. You know, last year he had colon cancer. He had surgery done. Talking to him this week, he was just given a clean bill of health by the doctors, and he doesn't have to go back to see his doctor again till next year. So you talk about inspiration for the Peacocks. Yeah, they're number 2 behind St. John's in this conference, but they're also doing it for their coach Miller. Back upstairs.
3rd and 10 from the 18. Wide open. Kelvin Johnson for the touchdown, splitting 2 defenders back there as he drilled that behind Kurt Ditzler, number 42, one of the cornerbacks defending on the play. And freshman Kelvin Johnson, one of those high school kids from Linden, New Jersey, he's recruited, makes a nifty catch. What a throw by Guma between the 2 defenders.
And it all starts with that protection up front. Guma had 5, 6, 7 seconds to throw the ball. He goes back, he looks over the defense, and then finds Johnson wide open in the end zone.
Kelvin Johnson, who was 24 years of age, was in the service for 2 years. Here's the kick by Guma. And St. Peter's on 2 consecutive drives has marched down the field and takes a surprising 14-0 lead.
And Bob Rickett and his squad right now have to be shocked. But watch this. Guma goes back and look at all the time. He looks to his left, looks to his right, and watch Johnson split the defenders wide open in the end zone.
Marty, we didn't get a chance to talk about that improved offensive line. Roy Miller likes what he sees. Former Jersey City High School star. It's been a great week for him from that standpoint of getting the clean bill of health, opening the season this way, and doing it without Mr. Marshall, the guy that everybody was raving about, Ray Marshall.
Well, the one thing he's doing, excellent play selection. He's running the ball up the middle, outside, and Guma's getting excellent time to throw the ball. And when he doesn't have the time, he's making the proper decision. Run the ball. Don't take the loss of yardage in the sack.
Well, offensive coordinator Tony Bruno, the assistant head coach, doing a good job on these first 2 series. St. John's on their heels, trailing 14-0. Ricker was concerned in terms of his defense. Were they going to get better? They had all kinds of problems last year. And here is St. Peter's marching down the field, scoring 2 quick touchdowns.
If St. John's is going to get into this game, they have to do it this next offensive series. They have to get Anthony Russo involved in the game.
Wayne Virgil to kick off. Not a good one. Taken upfield by Ian Devio at around the 24. Looks to get a block. Gets it. Down the sideline. Spins and is down around the 47-yard line. About a 22-23-yard return as he was brought down on the play by Latoro Yates and Wayne Virgil, the place kicker, the kickoff man. Well, that drive did not take too long. 72 yards, 9 plays, 4 minutes and 15 seconds. And the 18-yard touchdown pass to Kelvin Johnson from Anthony Guma. Let's see if St. John's with good field position, Marty, can answer right back. Sean Sharkey up and around the 46-yard line calling signal. Out of the eye. This is Russo trying to get away. Gets away from the first man and drives forward. Initially, Dan Roman, number 70, had a shot at him in the backfield. Finally, Matt Nieder out of Miami, Florida, one of the good-looking freshmen, wrapped him up.
And there's a case where a missed tackle by Dan Romo. He bench presses 450 pounds, and Roman's got to wrap him up there, Barry. There's Russo running another 8 yards after the missed tackle.
Roman, a sophomore. They played 3 freshmen on that starting 4. Front 4, they work out of a 4-3. 2nd and 2, the 8-yard pickup for Russo, who has over 4,000 career rushing yards. He'll try to add to it here, looking for the first down. Takes a pop as he appears to have the first down. Eli Roman, no relation, number 61, the freshman out of Elizabeth High School, hit him hard and wrapped him up.
And here's Russo. He takes just a 2-step, takes the ball. Watch how he hits this line of scrimmage, Greg. It's full speed. He puts his head down, takes a good lick, but he picks up the first down.
Marty, the coaches talk about that he's best when he squares his shoulders to the line of scrimmage.
Well, they want him to run north and south, not east and west.
Broadway now gets the pitch with Russo getting a breather. Tries to turn it outside. Tripped up at the 40-yard line on a fine defensive play by the St. Peter's defensive back. So he's brought down on the play. Scott Maley, number 42, the safety, whose dad, Wally Maley, was a quarterback for the Green Bay Packers and coached him in high school down in Rawlings, Maryland. He's an academic All-American candidate, Scott Maley. He made the stop. Russo now back in the ball game, working out of the eye on 2nd and 7. 2:45 to go, first quarter. Play action rolling here, Sharkey. Throwing on the run, complete for the first down, and making the catch, Anthony Iadivio, who led the team last year with 47 receptions. Matt Nieder on the coverage.
Well, Iadivio, he's out there in the flats. He knows he's going to get hit. Great concentration. But watch how Anthony Russo goes through. He freezes the linebackers right there. Sharkey's rolling out in the flats, sets up. Iadivio catches it, concentrates, takes 2 good hits, holds on to the ball.
Freshman Robert Tirado, number 33, is coming at fullback, along with Tom Gadis, number 82, as a wide receiver for St. John's. Russo behind the block from his freshman fullback, drives off the right side of the line inside the 30 to around the 29-yard line. Carrington Gilder, number 63, and Dan Roman brought him down after a short pickup.
Well, we talked about Dan Roman, how strong he is. He bench presses 450. Right there, he just stands the offensive lineman up, holds his ground, and keeps Russo to +2.
Roman led this club with 7.5 sacks last year. This is a defense vastly changed in terms of personnel, but a defense that gave up only 10 points last year and was among the leaders in just about every category in the nation in Division III. 2nd and 7, delayed draw. Russo wrapped up, will go nowhere. Eli Roman had him wrapped up. Good penetration that time by that front line. So Eli Roman, the freshman, who along with Carrington Gilder came out of that fine Elizabeth High School program. They had 6 players go to Division I out of that Elizabeth High School program this past year.
Well, right here, watch the exchange. Russo never has control of the ball, but that's because the defensive line is right there. You got both of the Romans all over the ball carrier.
Loss of 3 on the play. 3rd and 12. Sharkey in trouble, stepping out of trouble, rolling right and will be taken down. Brought down by number 46 on the play, Mikael Hicks, the good-looking freshman from Marist High School, comes in pass rush situations very quick, and he had a lot of quickness here.
Well, watch this young defense come in on him. Sharkey, he has nobody open, he's scrambling, and here comes Hicks. Watch the determination, lays out, pulls him down for a big loss.
Hicks, an all-county performer, lightning fast. They'll put him in on the nose in pass rush situations. Parker to try his second punt. He punted 28 yards his first time. After he had that bad snap and was just able to get it away. Clock running down another bad snap this time, but he will get it away. High kick. Maley will watch this one bounce. And St. John's will down the ball at the 16-yard line. Charlie Broadway there to cover up. And that should be the final play. However, there is a flag on the play. 7 seconds remaining for a very good first quarter for Roy Miller and the Peacocks. They hold a 14-0 lead. Just a 20-yard kick there. Wait for the officials to let us know. illegal blockage you may have heard on the kicking team. And it'll be against number 12. That will be Robert Moltisanti. He is the son of one of the coaches, Bob Moltisanti, senior and junior.
Well, I'm sure he's going to hear it from Coach Ricker.
Well, that really hurts you. Gift yards right there.
Well, right now your team is struggling, both offense and defense, and now for your special team to go out and make a mental mistake, Coach Ricker has got to be very frustrated in this opening quarter.
First and 10 at the 31, just 7 seconds left in this first quarter. St. Peter's leading at 14-0. They scored on each of their 2 possessions. Stay on the ground here to Jakes, and Jakes will get about 2 yards before he is stopped. And that should be the end of the first quarter. Michael Cotter, number 53, on the tackle.
Being a fan is tough when your team isn't the home team, especially when I try to find coverage of my favorite team in the local paper. I'm lucky there's even a box score. Well, if you're like me, you'll be happy to know there's one publication that'll make you feel right at home. The Sporting News. You'll love the Sporting News no matter what team you love, even if it is the home team.
Call this number now and get 4 issues of the Sporting News free. You'll get opinions and strategies, transactions, trade rumors, injury reports, and the lowdown on the minors. Plus football, basketball, and hockey all year long. Call now and you'll get 4 free issues. If you like them, you'll get 24 more issues at this great TV price. If not, just mark the bill, cancel, and owe nothing. The 4 issues are yours to keep.
So call now for the Sporting News, the publication that treats every team like the home team.
Call now and get 4 great issues of the Sporting News free.
Call 1-800-544-1888 now.
Here you go, 2 burgers. Says here the Islanders beat the Rangers in overtime last night. That must have been great.
Oh, yeah, sure was. Turgeon got the hat trick to win it. A little salt.
How'd you know about the game?
I watched it live on Sports Channel. You should have seen it.
Yeah.
Don't read about last night's Islander action. See it for yourself in 77 exclusive games on Sports Channel with Turgeon Thomas and the rest of Al Arbor's crew.
So Turgeon streaks in. He shoots. He scores. Oh, hey! Sorry.
St. John's cheerleader hoping the Redmen can turn it around in the second quarter. It was all St. Peter's in that first quarter. They lead it by a score of 14-0. They got an 18-yard touchdown pass, Guma to Johnson, and Rosso a 2-yard run for the other score. 2nd and 7 for the Peacocks from the 25-yard line. Missed connection, loose ball, and the Redmen think they have it at the 35-yard line. Steve Dombrowski, number 71, recovering the football. Just like St. Peter's played a flawless first quarter, they turn it over on the very first play of the season.
And number 7, Anthony Guma, goes back. He never has control of the ball. As we take another look at it, watch him go back. He doesn't have control of the ball right there. Offensive lineman comes up there and hits it out of his hand.
Donnie Rosso was the man he was trying to hand off to. So St. John's looking to take advantage of the first St. Peter's turnover. 1st and 10 from the 35-yard line. Sharkey to throw on first down. Good protection. Has the ball tipped as he threw it. Incomplete. Closest man to the ball was the St. Peter's linebacker, Jameek Adams. That ball tipped by Carrington Gilder, number 63.
Well, Gilder didn't tip it. I think what happened on that play, he just shot through the line of scrimmage and hit Sharkey before he could even get the ball off.
I didn't know. Okay, we'll call a hurricane. Listen, on the stunt there, right? Quarterback got the willies open. Quarterback got the willies, that's why he comes in. You're going to go into an 11, hitching the tackles a little bit. Inside eye on the tackles.
Back to the live action, 2nd and 10 from the 35. They'll try the ground. Russo turning it outside, has the first down inside the 25 to the 24-yard line. So Anthony Russo, who generally prefers running straight ahead that time, turned a little bit outside to pick up the first down.
Well, the one thing Anthony Russo has, he has the speed to get outside. When you talk to Bob Ricker, he says he doesn't have the breakaway speed to get behind the secondary, but he's a durable player. He wants to get the ball. He gets stronger in the fourth quarter. And right now, as Russo looks up and he sees the score 14-0, he knows for him to run the ball, he's going to have to get this team back in the game.
12-yard pickup for Russo. Now 6 carries for 23 yards. They get back onside. Russo tries the left side of the line. Good burst. And look at him keep going, but he fumbled the football, and St. Peter's thinks they have it. And they do, according to the officials. So St. Peter's gets it right back. William Bryant with a hit. And looks like number 21 is the man who has come up fumbling that football. Anthony Russo, something he doesn't do very often, turning it over. And Latoro Yates, the man who recovered the football, the 6'3", 212-pound safety.
And the play begins with an excellent block by Art Costello. Watch him come through. Excellent block there. Russo cuts outside. The determination. He's trying to get extra yardage. Comes up, and Yates delivers the blow and also recovers the fumble.
Good hit by William Bryant there as well. So Guma takes over 1st and 10 at the 16. We'll stay on the ground this time. Short pickup across the 19-yard line, maybe to the 20 as they unpile, setting up a second down play. As they go over that, up the middle of that line, Ray Lambright on the stop. Al Bruno also over there. Jake's the ball carrier, but that offensive line making some holes up the middle.
Well, Barry, to elaborate on what the defensive coordinator was telling his defense last time, he says, guys, if we show blitz, we're going to rattle the quarterback. He says that's why he fumbled the last time. So look for St. John's defense to come with more blitz or to appear like they're going to blitz more.
2nd and 8 for the Peacocks, leading 14-0. Here's Guma. Going to keep it at the 25 and stop to shy of the first down by about a yard. Steve Dombrowski, number 71, and Mike Margiotta, number 36, the outside linebacker, combining on the stop.
And Guma just showed us what type of athlete he is. He split 2 defenders, came up to the next 2, that determination, picked up a good 7 yards on that run.
So it'll set up a 3rd and short yardage situation here. 3rd and less than a yard, Marty. What do you look for?
I look for Guma or to give it to Rosso straight up the middle, or Jake straight up the middle. The front 7 is very weak at this point for St. John's.
Split backfield on a big 3rd down play. They'll go to Jakes behind the block of Rosso into the secondary. He fumbles the football. A lot of red shirts over there. It's still loose on the ground. And looks like finally number 29 may have come up with it. Kevin Barberi, the senior from Holy Cross High School for St. John's.
Right there.
Well, let's see now. Well, they'll reverse what I thought was going to be St. John's ball. It appears that it will be St. Peter's ball, Marty.
Well, the first thing they tell you when you see a fumble, don't try to pick it up and run with it. Fall on it, cradle it. And as we watch, Jakes makes an excellent run there. He gets outside, and look at him. He picks up the first down, but there's the fumble. Here's 1, 2. There's another one. 3, 4, 5 guys before the ball is recovered. They tell you, fall on your side, get on your side, cradle the ball in. Another costly turnover that St. John's didn't recover.
You saw Walter DeForest, 47, had a great chance to get it. Finally, Frank Ranieri, number 11, picked it up. This is Jose Canella to the outside and hit hard on the nice tackle that time by Kevin Barberi, and Walter DeForest picks up about 5 yards and make it 6 on the play, setting up a 2nd and 4.
Hey, Canella just runs a sweep outside, but what helped him there is number 3, Johnson, coming in, cracking down on the outside linebacker to free up that outside.
So, right now, Anthony Guma getting a play from the sideline. His club leading by a score of 14-0, 11:49 to go here in the 2nd quarter. The opening game of MAC Conference football.
Come on, defense!
Stay on the ground. around Rosso. There's a flag on the play as he tries to get the first down. Jeremy Walsh, number 65, one of the first men to hit him. Let's see what the penalty will be. Could be a holding penalty. With the exception of the one turnover. And it will be holding against St. Peter's. The Peacocks have played a very solid first half of football here.
Yeah, you want to listen to this?
Boom again going to the sideline to get some words with his coach. As we see referee Richard Stanley.
Hey Barry, let's give some credit to the St. Peter's offensive line. You know, you talk about size, 6'4", 315, 6'3", 272, 6'2", 234. Quality size and young players. They're doing an excellent job so far.
Again, part of that program rebuilding with some good high school football players from New Jersey. 2nd and 14 after that 10-yard walk-off. Looking deep, throwing up the middle for Kelvin Johnson. Contact on the play with Kurt Ditzler, number 42, the freshman cornerback from Islip. And we have a pass interference call.
Well, Ditzler right there just cut off the receiver. If he's going to make any contact with him, he's got to make an attempt to catch the ball.
Now Ditzler, one of two freshmen in that backfield with Steve Diamikis. That will give him the first down as they move the chains. 1st and 10 coming up here for the Peacocks of St. Peter's. This is the first of 5 St. John's football games you'll see here on Sports Channel.
And here's the pass, Barry. Watch Ditzler come right in here. He's way in front of the receiver. The ball probably wouldn't even have been caught because the ball's way up over his head. Just another mental mistake. And now, Barry, it was 1st and 14 penalty. Now it's 1st and 10.
St. Peter's making it up awfully quick. Ranieri lines up at the top, wide to the right. Rolling right is Goma. Looking wide open. James has the first down, dancing to the sideline, out of bounds inside the 20 and around the 18-yard line. And Mark Bernaderi ran him down and ran him out. Walter DeForest also running up to the sidelines.
And Bob Rick is going to have to make some adjustment. He's getting no pressure from the front 7. There's Guma goes out. James is wide open in the flats. He's got a blocker out there. He picks up another first down, but it starts with no pressure from the front 7 of St. John's.
Guma now 5 for 6, 76 yards and 1 touchdown. The 1 interception, of course. 1st and 10 from the 17-yard line. 4 minutes gone, 2nd quarter. St. Peter's knocking on the door again. They stay on the ground. Canella, the freshman, spinning inside the 15 to around the 13. Pickup of around 4. Brought down by middle linebacker Walter DeForest. They're pretty high on DeForest here.
And the thing Bob Rick has said, if DeForest goes out, then that front 7, they're really going to be in trouble because there's a great drop-off between DeForest and his backup.
He's a transfer from Nassau Community, young man out of Florida. Excellent quickness. Wasn't in school last year and has come back and won the starting middle linebacker's job. St. John's has changed from a 3-4 defense to a 4-3. They felt they had better defensive linemen this year. It's called 2nd and 7 from the 14-yard line. Puma handing off, and Canella tripped up. Fine play by that freshman, Steve Diamikis, who's been their most impressive newcomer on this team.
And there's Diamikis coming off the side, Barry, on the blitz. We heard the defense coordinator say, hey, we got to show him with the blitz. He's getting rattled with the blitz right there. Diamikis comes off the side, pulls him to a no-gainer.
Well, Bob Ricker says he's going to be a major impact player. He can play with poise right now and experience, squashes blockers, and so make a fine play there. Johnson and Ranieri line up wide to the right. You see Canelo wind up as a flanker to the left. 10th play of this drive. Puma rolling right, throwing on the run, complete, but there's a flag on the play. Complete inside the 5 and around the 3-yard line. Johnson, the receiver. Kurt Ditzler on the coverage. Let's wait on this penalty. Richard Stanley. Ineligible receiver downfield, so that will negate what would have been a goal-to-go situation for the Peacocks, but Guma looks awfully sharp here. Good athlete getting out on the perimeter and throwing with a good accuracy and zip on that ball.
A lot of times that'll happen with the offensive linemen.
So they'll replay the down, move it back to the 20-yard line. They have to go to around the 7, so it'll be 13 yards, and it'll be still 3rd and 13. Guma last year threw 16 touchdown passes, school record. They wanted to have him improve his percentage of completions. Only threw for 43%. He's been on target tonight. 5 out of 6 so far this evening. Now a single setback. Guma looking a quick in and tipped and incomplete. Tipped by Walter DeForest. And it'll go incomplete. He was looking for Frank Ranieri, number 11. DeForest, the middle linebacker, got his hand on it and knocked it away.
Well, there's a big first play by the defense. Guma goes back. We'll watch number 47 come into the picture, get his hands up right there. Should have been intercepted. If it was, it could have been a quick 6 points for St. John's.
Guma changing his shoes, his place-kicking shoe on right now.
He's going to the square toe. That way he can get some lift on the ball. He's a straight-on kicker, not the soccer style.
Kick from the 27, 37-yard kick, way short and to the left. So good defensive effort by the Redmen. They trail with 8:57 to go in the first half. Surprisingly, 14-0. We'll be right back.
Did you know Texaco puts System 3 in every grade of gasoline?
System 3 gets high marks in every grade, which is a lot better than I ever did.
My dad says Texaco puts System 3 in every grade. I'm in the 4th grade.
Of course. That's why I always fill up with System 3. What do I look like? Don't say it.
Visit your Texaco station.
I can get the tires rotated, the car moved, and still get home in time for the game.
Mow the lawn.
For unbeatable System 3 gasolines and so much more.
Mow the lawn.
Mow the lawn.
Enter the Connecticut Tourism Home Run Sweepstakes and win. Send in a postcard to P.O. Box 234, Woodbury, New York, 11797. During each Sports Channel Mets telecast from September 2nd through 25th, we'll choose one lucky postcard. If a Met hits a homer in the 5th inning, then we'll give away a trip to one of these great Connecticut resorts. Those selected will instantly be entered in the grand prize drawing for a deluxe vacation package. All selected entries win a Connecticut Tourism Guide and a Sports Channel t-shirt. Enter today and win.
We are back at Redmond Field. Barry Landers along with Marty Lyons and Carl Reuter. St. John's trailing St. Peter's 14-0 in the inaugural game of MAC Conference football earlier today in one of the MAC Conference schools. Iona won over Sacred Heart as they won impressively today. And you'll see St. John's take on Sacred Heart a little bit later on in our St. John's football schedule. Well, Sharkey 1 for 5 so far with just 10 yards. Picks over 1st and 10 at the 20. And the handoff, this is the fullback, Robert Torado, the freshman, trying to turn it outside. Taken down by Scott Maley, who went from his safety spot, ran a lot of yardage to get there, knock it down.
And Barry, that play right there is not going to work for St. John. It just takes too long to develop. And Tornado, he doesn't have the speed to take it east and west and try to pick up yards. You see how long it took to develop that play for a 2-yard gain.
Well, he's a big, husky kid, 5'10", 225, true fullback, and not with great speed, as we saw there. Did pick up a couple, 2nd and 8. Sharkey tucking it under. Jumps over his own man and will be close to the first down as he crossed the 30 up and around the 31-yard line. Sharkey, similar to Guma, good athlete, can get out of the perimeter, can make things happen if it isn't there as far as the pass.
Well, the one thing Sharkey does, he makes a smart decision. He knows he can't make a mistake back here. There's not a receiver open. Great move right there. He sticks his head down, picks up the first down.
Sharkey has rushed the ball 3 times for 21 yards. A little late hit perhaps there, but the officials didn't call it.
It's never a late hit if you don't get it called.
Well, you defensive guys figure that way, right, Marty? You didn't mind getting a couple
You got to look at it this way, Barry. You run that far to catch the quarterback. He's no longer the quarterback. He's over the line of scrimmage. You got to hit him.
On the keeper, pickup of 3 to the 35-yard line. And you're looking at William Bryant out of Lincoln High School in Jersey City. Young man who went to Nebraska, Marty. Transferred back, wanted to be back home. He's got great size, 6'3", 218. They think he's a vicious hitter and maybe has a shot, an outside shot, if he continues to improve at pro ball. He certainly has the size, maybe for strong safety.
And Roy Miller is very high on this young man. He said he's a great leader, he's a great inspiration, and it rubs off to those younger players out there on defense.
Again, this is a very young defensive team with 6 freshmen starting. Sharkey throwing a little too low for Iadivio up at the 41-yard line, setting up a third down play. Lonnie Cody, the sophomore quarterback, was defending.
Well, Sharkey just takes a 3-step drop. He looks down. It's a timing pattern. He looks to his left, throws to his right. The receiver's not even through his pattern yet.
Tom McPherson has checked into the ball game. Now they put in a couple of extra defensive backs. McPherson, the speedy wide receiver for the Redmen. He'll line up wide to the left at the top of your screen. 3 wide receivers, single setback. Sharkey in trouble, gets away, but will not get away from the rest of the charge. Initially, Kevin Lewis put the pressure on, but finally, Mikal Hicks again coming up with a big play.
Well, Lewis comes untouched, Barry, and you're talking about the young offensive line. They've got to realize when there's an outside man on the offensive tackle, there's going to be a blitz. Watch Lewis come in, and he's untouched. The tackle's got the fan protect, or the guard's going to have to come back out and pick up that defender, or we're going to have to leave the back end. 3 options for St. John's to stop the blitz.
Parker kicking for the 3rd time. His average just 24 yards. End over end kick will bounce. St. Peter's will let this one roll. Will not attempt to field it. Gets a St. John's roll and will die inside the 30 at around the 28-yard line. 39-yard kick. No return, of course, and it'll be 1st and 10 for St. Peter's, who leads this one surprisingly 14-0, scoring in their first 2 possessions of this first half. The Peacocks, last year 7-2 and independent. Last year, St. John's finished 2nd in the Liberty Conference to Wagner. By the way, Wagner beat a very good CW Post team today, 27-23. And a couple of other scores. Hofstra beaten by Rhode Island, 37-32. We'll see Hofstra next week here on Sports Channel take on Lehigh. They defeated Fordham today, 16-7. Puma keeping on the ground here. Jake shakes off 1 tackle and won't get away. Excellent pursuit from St. John. There's Diamikis again making a big play.
And there's the strength that Diamikis brings to this team. He comes up and slams the running back. That's the type of hit that should bring momentum to the defense. That's what the coach is looking for.
Well, he makes a big play here.
Right here we see Jakes. He's a strong runner too, Barry. And Diamikis comes up there and knocks him for a 5-yard loss.
Jakes, they call the Diesel. Some of the crowd on a Saturday night. Weather beautiful for football. Temperature in the 60s. 2nd and 15. A few times St. Peter's has had negative yardage on a play. There's Goomer rolling right. He's got Ranieri wide open downfield, and he drops the football. He had 6 points easily there.
And that was written all over. How he got behind the secondary, Barry, we're going to have to take another look at. But right there, all Goomer has to do is take a little bit off. You have a receiver wide open.
Well, they're picking on Kurt Ditzler, number 42, Marty. He got beaten easily on that play. And if Mr. Marshall were back there, I think Coach Miller was thinking, I've got 6 points.
Right now, we'd be looking at an extra point.
Well, Marshall not playing today, of course, because of the financial aid problem. Their preseason wide receiver, All-American candidate. 3rd and 15. 2 wide receivers to the top of your screen. Stay on the ground here, and it'll be a short gain up to around the 24-yard line. Walter DeForest stopping Donnie Rosso, so the Peacocks will be forced to punt.
And that's the first time all game that St. Peter's actually stopped themselves. A drop pass should have been a touchdown. Now they're in a punting situation. St. John's at this point, Barry, only has 69 total yards offense.
Now that's surprising. St. John's, a club that averaged 29 points a game last year. John O'Leary back to receive the kick, standing at the 40-yard line along with Tommy McPherson. Guma to do the punting. Sends this one downfield, and this one will be taken by O'Leary, and he stopped at the 45-yard line. 30-yard kick, 2-yard return, and the Peacocks send their defensive unit on to see if they can stop St. John's once again. Let's go down to the field and sideline reporter Carl Royd.
All right, Barry, it'll be interesting to see how the Redmen come out here on offense after their last exchange when they gave the ball back to St. Peter's. Coach Bob Ricca went right over to the team and said, fellas, the effort is not there. He said, it's one thing if we're not moving the football. We are. You guys aren't catching it, though. You've got to be out there. You got to put forth the effort. He's very disappointed. 4 drop passes. He's counting on the sidelines.
All right, Carl, 1st and 10 at the 46. Sharkey, quick drop. Will try to scramble here, but will not get out of the grasp of one of the tacklers, 63, Carrington Gilder, that freshman for Elizabeth, who's got excellent speed, great closing speed, they say, and he wouldn't let him go. Danny Roman also over there on the tackle.
And Sharkey almost made a very, very mental mistake there at the end. Getting ready to get sacked, he looked back for Costello. He started to pitch the ball there. Would have been a big mistake, could have been another fumble, another turnover.
Well, they can ill afford to do that right now, trailing in this game by a score of 14-0. They're lucky that it isn't 21-0. Russo right behind. They go to Russo trying to spin away, and they had that well diagnosed there at the line of scrimmage again. Gilder coming up quickly along with Lewis, number 58.
And there's the strength of Kevin Lewis, number 58. He just darts through that offensive line for a 1-yard loss on Russo. Watch number 58 come off that tackle, hits Russo right there, wraps him up for a 1-yard loss.
Boy, both Roman and Lewis on that side of the line doing an excellent job. So it's 3rd and 11, a loss of 1 by Russo, who has not had a good game so far tonight against this St. Peter's defense. Russo just gained 28 yards on 8 carries. Sharkey looking downfield, throwing, and throws incomplete. 3 white shirts around the intended receiver, Iadivio, and it'll set up a punting situation. Ronnie Cody was defending on the play along with Scott Maley, but not a well-thrown ball, and there was traffic there.
Well, let's give St. Peter's defense a lot of credit for a young defensive squad. You're talking about 6 freshmen. They are communicating. The defense is very well sound, and the secondary is coming up with some excellent plays.
Parker's last punt, 39 yards. 39 yards, I beg your pardon. He'll try again. And they'll watch this one bounce. St. Peter's making no attempt to field the punt. They want to get possession here. They will at the 26-yard line, a 29-yard punt. No return, 3:02 to go first half, and what has been a surprise, St. Peter's leading St. John's 14-0.
Well, Barry, for the opening game, we can't say it's a surprise or not. We haven't seen St. Peter's. They're coming out here and really dominating both sides of the ball. So, well, is it a surprise that St. John's is not producing tonight? Maybe that's what we're used to seeing.
Well, absolutely. People felt St. Peter's schedule not particularly tough last year. Not sure how good they were being a 7-2 team as an independent. 1st and 10. Here's the pitch going to Cannella. Trying to use his speed to turn outside. Will get about 7 or 8 yards before he is run down by the St. John's defense. Walter DeForest again on the tackle.
And Cannella's just stretching that defense. What they're doing now is great play selection by Roy Miller over there, because they're stretching St. John's defense. Now they can hit them right up the crease in the middle.
Gain of 7 on the play. St. John's will make a change defensively. Ralph Taco coming into the ball game, number 26. And he replaces Mike Margiata, number 36. Offensive meeting gathered around the coaching staff there. Fred Bruno, the offensive line coach, in the middle. Stay on the ground here for a short game. Walter DeForest and Al Bruno combining to stop the play. Donnie Rosso carries.
You did the right thing. The back was not in there. Hey, he's going to get on the quarterback that quick. I'm saying, was anybody in your B gap? No, Tim took him out.
You saw Fred Bruno, the coach, talking to his troops.
Well, Bruno right there was trying to explain that somebody, Barry, has got to pick up that outside blitzer. He was talking to the guard. He says, is anybody in your B gap? The B gap is your outside shoulder. If nobody's in the B gap, it's the responsibility of the offensive guard to step out and come behind the offensive tackle and pick up that blitzer.
Now St. Peter's has outrushed St. John's by a considerable margin. 105 yards to 26. Russo has been held at 26 yards, rushing the football. Third down and very short yardage. 9-man line for St. John's as they try to stop the play here. On the keeper, Guma, St. John's trying to prevent that first down attempt. Let's see where they mark his forward progress. He had to get to the 36-yard line. He'll wait as they unpile and see where that spot will be, Marty.
Well, Guma, he only needed 3 inches, so this will be very interesting to see where the referees come in the spot.
I think that he made it because the St. Peter's defense is coming on the field. So credit St. John's with 2:22 to go with a good surge there defensively.
Watch Guma. He doesn't get any push from that offensive center. Center gets stood straight up. Guma's got to find a hole. He's got to go to either side of the center. Very important first down to pick up. Now they're in a punting situation.
DeForest and Taco there. O'Leary is deep. Guma angling it to the near sideline. O'Leary will field it at the 30. Spun away from one guy, another guy, and bounces to the 36-yard line where he's down. Let's go down to the field and call Reuter.
Barry, I know Marty can really appreciate this or maybe not appreciate it. When you're on the near sideline, and St. Peter's fans, they brought a large contingent. The only thing they've done so far, aside from root for the St. Peter's Peacocks, is they've been all over Anthony Russo's case tonight. They have just been chanting Russo, Russo, and why not? St. Peter's defense has shut them down. Barry?
No question about it, Carl. This defense, one of the best in Division III last year, has shown that they're a fine defense once again tonight. Sharkey rolling left, got a block. Fakes the pass, keeps, gets about 9 yards as he gets to the 45-yard line. Clock continues to tick. Picked up about 9 yards on the play. Jameek Adams, number 9, the linebacker, brought him down. Another one of those fine freshmen playing middle linebacker out of Passaic, New Jersey. Clock ticking with 1:32 to go. Rolling, here's Sharkey. Throwing on the run, incomplete. Looking on the near sideline for Iadivio. Stopping the clock, Danny Roman put some pressure on the quarterback. Sharkey stats incredibly in this first half, 1 for 8, just 10 yards.
And what they're doing now, Barry, is they're rolling them from left to right, and they're taking that one remaining back, whether it's Russo or Broadway, and the responsibility of the back is now to cut the legs of the outside defender. They're trying to give Sharkey some extra time.
Now Russo's been held to just 28 yards, and Sharkey 1 for 8 and 10 yards. Third and short yardage 2. Stay on the ground. Russo trying to get the first down, dives and gets the first down at the 46 or 47. So they'll move the chains quickly, and let's see if St. John's goes with the no-huddle offense here. Clock will set back in motion as soon as the chains are moved. Time a factor here with 1:14 to go, and St. John's trailing 14-0 late in this first half.
And Carl just mentioned that the fans are heckling Russo. Right there, number 9, Adams, the middle linebacker for St. Peter's in short, 3rd and 1. He's waving at Russo.
Sharkey looking Russo out on the pattern as a receiver. Incomplete as they were going to Dan Parker, the tight end. Dan Roman again putting pressure on the quarterback. We mentioned he led the team with 7.5 sacks, having trouble stopping him from some penetration. St. John's offensive line was a bit of a question mark. They moved 2 players from defense this year to offense. Mark Winkler, number 64, playing at right tackle, and Anthony Ferrara, number 55, playing at left tackle. They're trying to get some size. It's not a big offensive line, is it, Marty?
Well, it's good size, but they need the experience, Barry. They've got to gel together. You can't take a defensive player who's used to just being very aggressive, and now you take him on the offensive line where he has to control himself.
Draw play to Russo into the secondary, juking down the sideline, stays in bounds, and finally out of bounds. The best play of the day. They get to around the 30-yard line. Clock stops with 47 seconds. A 23-yard jaunt for Anthony Russo.
And Anthony Russo just shaking his leg all the way down the sideline. Picks up 21 yards, another first down. Excellent field position now, Barry. They got 47 seconds left and 2 timeouts.
Well, Anthony Russo stopped finally by Mikael Hicks, who's had a couple of sacks today. He's that speedy freshman coming in pass rush situations. Russo, of course, last year had another brilliant year. You see Russo coming to the sideline. Broadway replaces him in the backfield. 1st and 10. 3 wide receivers for the Redmen. Sharkey looking deep for the sideline. Incomplete. He was looking for McPherson. And the clock will stop with 43 seconds left.
And McPherson's got to stretch for that ball. He knows that Sharkey has to throw the ball strong, and he's out there. He's behind the defender. Make an effort to catch it. You've got to get your team on the board with 43 seconds left to go in the first half.
Now, McPherson is a guy who will lay out for the ball. He has a reputation to making the big plays. He's a free-spirited kid. Now slot right formation for the Redmen. Sharkey can't find anybody open. Now throws to the sideline, and it's going to be ruled complete at the 22-yard line. And Tom Jadis, number 82, the junior who caught only 4 passes last year, with a good sideline catch.
But if we're wondering why Sharkey can't find a receiver, Barry, he's keeping the backs, he's keeping the tight ends in to help him block. Right there, he only sends 1 receiver out in the pass route.
Mikael Hicks was putting pressure on again, number 46. 3rd and 1. Clock stops with 35 seconds. The ball inside. As St. John's gets set to put it in play here. They're going to bring the chains in. The ball inside the 25, close to the 20. Coming up at halftime, Carl Reuter will be talking to Rich Enzer, the commissioner of the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference, which will be adding 2 teams to the conference next year. It's short by a couple of inches, as you see. Duquesne and Marist will be joining Siena, Canisius, Georgetown, Iona, St. Peter's, and St. John's in the MAC conference next year in football.
And right now we're looking at the most important 35 seconds in this first half. If St. John's can get something on the board, take a little bit of momentum into the locker room, make the adjustments, they come out, Barry, to start the second half receiving the ball.
2 timeouts remaining for the Redmen as they face now a critical play. Inches to go. 3rd down and inches at the 21-yard line. McPherson and Iadivio will come out wide to the left at the top of your screen. In just a moment, you'll see him. Out of the I formation, Costello, the up back. Keeper for Sharkey gets the first down, and that will stop the clock as he's brought down by the middle of the line there. Timeout taken by the Redmen. They'll have 1 left here.
And Barry, you can see the frustration in Anthony Russo right there, where he almost made a very crucial mistake.
Time out of the field. We'll be back. St. John's trailing St. Peter's 14-0.
A safari rarely lasts longer than a few weeks, unless it's a safari maintained with genuine AC oil filters, because over hill, dale and wadi, no other filter can track down, trap and capture more dirt. So, AC oil filters keep your engine in the hunt for a longer life.
AC Delco. It's like buying time. Now through September 30th, save up to $11.60 on AC spark plugs and filters.
Your biggest competitor is working on a proposal for the same job you're after.
You want this to be enlarged?
They have about the same idea as you do.
Copy this slide.
The only difference is...
Let's print it.
They own a Canon color laser copier, and you don't. Who would you give the job to? If you think you can't afford a Canon color laser copier, maybe you can't afford to be without one.
New York's authorized source for Canon office equipment, Leslie Copiers. For more information, call 1-800-LESLIE-9.
Barry, we talked about St. John's being frustrated. Watch Anthony Russo right here on Lewis. Comes up, pops him right there. That's not necessary. That could have cost him 10 yards on an unnecessary penalty.
1st and 10 at the 18-yard line. Rolling left on the bootleg. Sharkey being chased by Kevin Lewis will wisely run out of bounds inside the 10. There's a flag on the play late on that play, and there may be a penalty tacked on.
There will be a penalty. Sharkey was 5 yards out of bounds when the defender came up to take his legs out.
Kevin Lewis was chasing him over there, and Lewis was involved in that play just a few moments ago, as we saw in the replay with Anthony Russo. We'll get get the call right here from
We have a
referee.
dead ball foul, personal foul against the defense. Will be half the distance from the end of the run. And a first down.
Richard Stanley making the call, so the ball inside the 5 now.
Watch the defender come. It's not 58. It's the defensive back. Will try to get his number right here, well out of bounds.
Now tough to pick up on that replay, but here we go with the Redmen now making changes. Art Costello checking into the ballgame, replacing Tirado. And St. John's with first and goal at the 3-yard line. McPherson to the left, Iadivio to the right. 23 seconds remaining. Sharkey looking, throwing, and it's a touchdown complete to the tight end, Daniel Parker, the sophomore out of Lindenhurst, coming up with a touchdown pass, his first in his career, and the Redmen are on the board.
Sharkey just rolled to his right, found Parker wide open in the end zone. Get St. John's, get them the momentum, and put them on the board.
Oh, that is a huge drive by the Redmen. Gets the crowd in the game after being badly outplayed here, trailing 14-0. They'll try the extra point here. Steve Diamikis, the freshman from East Islip, to try the extra point. Iadivio, the holder. Kick is up, and it is going to be no good. That one hurts. The Redmen now find themselves down by 8, but Marty, they're on the board. That does have to give them a huge lift going into the locker.
Well, it puts them in a situation now. If and when they score the next time, they're going to have to go for 2.
Well,
we talked about Sharkey rolling to his left, then his right. There's the number 81, Parker, who just scored the touchdown. But Sharkey rolls out, fakes in the line of scrimmage to Russo, rolls to his right, and there's Parker wide open. Nobody covering him in the end zone, puts him on the board.
Linebacker William Bryant way off of him on that place. We take another look, number 29.
Well, it all starts with Anthony Russo. He goes into the line of scrimmage. He's going to freeze the linebacker.
And so the Redmen shut out for almost 30 minutes of this ball game. A team that averaged 29 points, a high-powered offense, put some points on the board. And now trails 14-6. Again, don't forget, coming up, Marty and Carl will have halftime highlights. Rich Enzer from the Metro Atlantic Conference will talk about cost containment football, non-scholarship Division I AA football. Many of the basketball schools that play Division III football in the past have been forced to move up to 1AA. We saw Butler last week, one of the schools playing 1AA non-scholarship. And here tonight we're watching a couple. Fielded by Johnson at the 23. The speedster sidesteps one tackle and will be down with the clock stopped with 12 seconds to go as he gets to the 32-yard line. Stopped by Anthony Iadivio, playing on the special teams as well.
Well, the big question is, we've seen an excellent first half by St. Peter's, but will Anthony Goomba, will he still have that endurance in the fourth quarter, Barry? He's doing the punt, and he's doing the place kicking, and plus he's doing the quarterback. It's got to show a little bit toward the end of the game.
Good drive by the Redmen. 10 plays, covered 64 yards, and they're on the board. Now Goomba will just touch his knee down and take a halftime lead to the locker room. And that should do it. Final play of the first half in this inaugural MAC Conference football game. St. John's Redmen and the Peacocks of St. Peter's. Let's go down the field right now, and here is Carl Reuter.
All right, Barry, thanks very much. Bob, they played pretty much a beautiful first half, no mistakes. You're lucky you got that touchdown here at the end of the first half.
We needed that one, Carl. Give us hopefully a little momentum now coming into the dressing room. But yeah, they played real hard, didn't make the errors. We had a couple bad breaks, but we got to get on the stick. We have to catch the ball. Receivers are not catching the football.
They're not catching the football. If you look at their offense, they're blowing your D-line right out of there. They're big and strong across the front on O-line.
Well, they're a lot bigger than we are, and we'll just have to make some adjustments at halftime.
What will those adjustments be?
We'll see. We're getting inside and going to work right now.
All right, Coach. Thanks a lot, and good luck in the second half.
Okay, thank you.
Coach Bob Ricka, his team goes off the field here. Redmond Field trailing by the score of 14-6 against St. Peter's in the first ever MAC football game. Now, when we come back, I'll talk to the commissioner of the MAC. That's Rich Enzer, and Marty and I. Halftime numbers and highlights to follow, so stay with us.
for the challenge of a superior academic program taught by a world-renowned faculty to the working adult and returning student. Attend the Evening Studies program of the State University at Stony Brook. Complete the graduate or undergraduate degree you've always wanted with a convenient schedule of weekend and evening classes all year long. Receive the unsurpassed quality of a private education at an affordable public university cost. The University at Stony Brook. Learning raised to the highest power.
As you know, I'm not only the Heckler president, I'm also a client. If your hair is thinning like mine was, call now for your free video.
The first thing my wife said when she saw it, that I looked 10 years younger. That was the first words out of her mouth. Not hello, not hi.
I feel good about myself when I get up in the morning. It's easy to maintain and manage.
In our free video, you'll see our clients up close and natural. Their new hair responding under any condition just like their own. Hair Club for Men has improved not only their looks, but also their lives.
If you're pressed for time, you're 15 minutes late, you got to catch up. Jump out of the shower, towel dry the hair, fix it with your fingers, and get going. It feels like it's been there all the time. That's how natural it feels. Even at the touch. You know, when I wash it in the shower, I don't feel anything. Just hair. Lovely hair.
So call now for your free video on Hair Club's developments in dealing with thinning hair. To help our clients, see how this free video can help you too.
I've played a lot of great courses in my life, and I'd like to think I've designed a few, but I've never played a golf course quite like this. Golf Magazine has introduced a 30-page monthly section called The Golf Course, a unique 18-hole editorial format that delivers more instruction, more features, more of everything. Reading Golf Magazine is like teeing off on a brand new course every month. That's why I joined Golf Magazine as special contributor.
You can join Golf Magazine, too, for custom-tailored private lessons to help you score better. Call now and get absolutely free Jack's video playing the percentages, an insider's guide to improving your game and managing the course for lower scores and more fun. Call now for a great deal on Golf Magazine and your free video. Jack, it's great to have you on the Golf Magazine team. Where should we look for you in upcoming issues?
Where else? The golf course.
Welcome back to Redmond Field, campus of St. John's University in Jamaica, New York. At halftime, the St. Peter's Peacocks 14, the Redmond of St. John's 6. Now joined by the commissioner of the newly formed MAC Conference, Rich Enzer. And Rich, you got to feel very proud of what has taken place for the MAC, especially now in football.
Well, it's a great start to the new MAC Football League. We're looking forward to some real competitive games. I think this is indicative of it.
How did it all get formed? I mean, because if you look at the MAC and some of the teams that are in there, you see a Georgetown and a St. John's who play basketball in the Big East. So you kind of crisscross a little bit to form a conference.
Well, up to this year, what happened is the schools in the MAC were in Division III, and they played in an assortment of different leagues. But there was some NCAA legislation passed 2 years ago that forced us all into 1AA. And because of that, we sat around and we thought that the MAC could form a good league, a federated approach where we could bring in schools from different leagues with the 4 MAC conference schools and start a football league that could really work and maintain the low-cost Division III philosophy of no financial aid, but yet provide our athletes an opportunity to compete in a league setting.
So it's non-scholarship, so I guess as Barry said in the first half, cost containment football. Can you explain that or elaborate on that?
Well, quite a few different rules that we put in place, travel squad limitations, things of that nature, the limits on the number of coaches, the types of salaries that they can get, the types of recruiting they can do, and so forth. So we are trying to maintain a cost containment model, and we think it might be a model that could be very effective in the future for a lot of different schools because costs are just getting out of hand in intercollegiate football. And we're going to see some legislation this year in the national level that's going to be driving down the number of scholarships that even can be given in 1AA. So I think the trend is that 1AA is heading in our direction, and we hope that's going to work to our benefit in the future.
Do you see more schools perhaps going the same route that the MAC and other conferences in 1AA have gone?
I think if we can show that football can be run on a cost containment basis, you're going to see schools adding football that haven't had it in the past. I know this year Monmouth College, for instance, has added. They're not in the MAC, but there are other possibilities even within the MAC. A Fairfield, for instance, might consider, or even a Manhattan, which has an ancient tradition in football many years ago. They might consider it. If we can show them that this model works, and that's what we're working towards.
Speaking of additions, a couple of more teams will join the MAC Conference for play in 1994.
Again, we're adding Duquesne University, who plays basketball in the Atlantic 10 Conference, and Marist College, College, which plays in the Northeast Conference. They'll come in and join us as associate members in football, and we'll welcome them. It'll be a nice 8-team league. I think we are on the same level in terms of our philosophy towards athletics and our academic orientation, and I think it'll be a real good addition.
Did Amaris and Duquesne approach Richenzo, or did you go out and say, hey, would you like to join our newly formed conference?
They actually approached us. We've had quite a few applications. I think we've set the tone for this kind of league in the East, and we've had approaches from a number of schools. We want to start slow. We started with 6. We thought that was a workable number in the first year. The 2 new schools will bring us to 8, and I think we'll stay there for a while, and we'll see how it works. We want to go through it a couple of seasons, work out the kinks, and make sure we have it working perfectly before we look at going any larger.
Rich Enzer, if it's the first half of this game is indicative of the type of football that we're going to see in the MAC, then it's going to be good football. Good luck with the new conference. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks a lot.
All right, Rich Enzer, the commissioner of the newly formed MAC Football Conference, has been my guest. Stay tuned when I come back to Redmond Field, joined by Marty Lyons. Halftime numbers and highlights to follow, so stay with us.
The average Grand Prix lasts but a few hours, unless it's a Grand Prix started with a genuine Delco Freedom Battery. Delco's rated tops for taking the pole position in starting power and excelling in reserve capacity. Helps keep your engine in the race for a longer, more reliable life.
AC Delco. It's like buying time. Now through December 4th, get started with up to $14 cash back on Delco Freedom batteries.
Your biggest competitor is working on a proposal for the same job you're after.
You want this to be enlarged?
They have about the same ideas you do.
Copy this slide.
The only difference is...
Let's print it.
They own a Canon color laser copier, and you don't. Who would you give the job to? If you think you can't afford a Canon color laser copier, maybe you can't afford to be without one.
New York's authorized source for Canon office equipment, Leslie Copiers. For more information, call 1-800-LESLIE-9.
Drive your ball into orbit when you tee off with the Hot One. Warning, the Hot One will travel faster and farther than any other golf ball on the planet. Some say the Hot One flies too far.
I've cut 10 strokes off my game with the Hot One, but nobody knows why, because the name on the ball is different.
The Hot One does not conform to USGA rules. It's smaller and heavier than other balls, and its secret core and advanced dimple design make it fly faster and farther. The Hot One can help you drive the green on a par 4 and shoot the lowest score of your life.
I broke 80 with the Hot One.
Call the number on your screen now and receive your trial pack of 3 Hot Ones for only $9.95. Plus, you'll also get free a $10 Pocket Pro, a proven guide for on-the-course help. If the Hot One doesn't out-hit your current ball, send them back for a guaranteed refund, but keep the $10 Pocket Pro as your free gift. Put the heat on the competition. Order the Hot One now.
The factory-authorized clearance means the hottest savings of the year at your Ford dealer. On Ford Escort, America's best-selling small car. Choose any Escort, 3-door, 4-door, 5-door, or wagon. All the same low price. Everything's priced to move, and the savings are hot on 5 of the 10 best sellers at the factory-authorized clearance. See your Tri-State quality Ford dealer today and see for yourself. Ford dealers! When you're hot,
You know, Marty, in talking about this game with you, Barry, and myself, we said on paper it was a good one. They've done it on the field as well as on paper.
Well, I think the one thing that you have to realize, St. Peter's came out and they dominated the first half. If you take away that last drive by St. John's, that's the only thing they had the whole first half.
From a defensive lineman, former defensive lineman standpoint, what was St. Peter's doing with their offensive line, blowing St. John's off the ball so easily?
Well, I think the one thing that St. Peter's, they were doing offensively, they were dominant. They were staying with the defensive players, the defensive linebackers. They dominated the front 7 of St. John's. If you reverse it, if you look at St. Peter's defensive side of the ball, they're playing the old Redskins, the old Dallas Cowboy type. They've got young players in there, undersized, but very quick. They're running around the blocks. They're making things happen.
You know, you're making things happen. That's exactly what St. John's had done at the end of the first half. They needed to punch that touchdown in to get on the board.
Well, you heard Bob Brickett at halftime. He's going to try to go in there and make some adjustment. The first half, you could see the frustration. Anthony Russo, he comes up, he hits Lewis late. Could have been called, could have taken away that touchdown. The thing that they have to do is realize they got 30 minutes to play. Anthony Russo has got to take control of the game. They've got to get the running attack. They've got to keep Sharkey running in and out of the pocket, because if they drop him straight back, he's going to be sacked.
Take a look at the halftime numbers brought to you by AC Delco. And Marty, what do you like when you look at the board of numbers?
Well, the first thing you look at is the penalties. There's a lot of penalties happening on both sides. And St. Peter's, they took themselves out of a touchdown early in the first quarter by that penalty. St. John's, they're still struggling, though.
They are struggling there. In fact, when they have a guy like an Anthony Russo has had trouble running the football, you got to talk about the defensive line of St. Peter's. Now, they were supposed to have some problems there, some holes and all that, and, they have really shut him down, and he's the big guy.
Well, you expect Russo to run the ball 30 to 35 times a game, but what they did, they made that Coach Bruno made the adjustment with his offense. He says, guys, we've got to take that defensive guy out of the line. We've got to either cut him, we've got to leave the back end, or we've got to have that guard who's not covered. If the B gap's not covered, what they're telling the guy is, if you do not have a defender on the outside of your shoulder, pick up that outside defender.
Let's take a look at the halftime highlights in this one, and St. Peter's got it going. Boy, did they get it going early. The opening drive, they march it downfield. Donnie Rosso takes it in.
Well, it all starts off with field position. They started from their own 46 and just drove it down 54 yards. Right there, Rosso takes it in for a touchdown.
7-0 St. Peter's, and how about 4:29 left in the first quarter? Anthony Guma to Kelvin Johnson, 14-0 St. Peter's.
Well, right here, he goes back, and look how much time he has. He looks to his left, looks to his right, and there's the receiver wide open, splits the defender, an easy 7 points.
I made it 14-0 in favor of St. Peter's. Now 18 seconds left in the first half. St. John's finally breaks through. Sean Sharkey to Tom Parker.
Well, we talked about Sharkey's ability to scramble. Right here, he goes outside. He finds Parker 1 yard into the end zone, puts St. John on the board.
Extra point was no good, so where we stand right now, it's 14-6 in favor of St. Peter's over St. John's. Been a good football game. What adjustments from your standpoint? I put you as a coach. Does Coach Miller stay with exactly what has gotten him here in that lead, and what does Coach Ricker do?
Well, if I'm Coach Miller, I've got to be very pleased with my offense and defense. One thing I have to worry about is Guma. I've got him doing the place kicking. I've got him doing the punting, and he's my quarterback. I got to get the ball into the running back's hand. I got to take some of the pressures off Guma. If I'm Coach Ricker, I go into the halftime, tell him, okay, we took ourselves out of the first half. Let's pretend it's 0-0. We get the ball right now. Anthony Russo, I'm going to put it in your hands. Catch up for us.
Now, I was talking to Chris Cameron, who's working with the offensive line here at St. John's, a former football player at Post and over at Hofstra, and I asked Chris, and I said, what is their D-line doing to your O-line? He said, well, they came out in a little bit of different formation. They were expecting them to come out 4-3. They went a little 4-4, so they have to make some adjustments. What do you do? What kind of adjustments do you make on that 4-4 going back to what they were expecting, a 4-3?
Well, the first thing you have to do is control St. Peter's quickness, whether it's a 4-4, a 4-3, or a 3-4. You've got to get the proper blocking scheme. The guy that's uncovered, the guy that's naked, that's what they say about the guy that doesn't have anybody over him. That's just a term, not that one that I've made up. If you're naked, you've got to pull. You've got to help out your teammates.
All right, we're at Redmond Field, campus of St. John's, Jamaica, New York. It's halftime, and St. Peter's leads by a 14-6 score. We'll be back with more at St. John's right after this. Stay with us.
This man's hair loss is starting to become noticeable. He was hoping it would never happen to him.
Stop worrying and go do something about it.
He faces a decision that many men have to make. Today, men are correcting their hair loss early. They can replace their hair with M&J's exclusive Dermalayer process. Dermalayer is a permanent, non-surgical process that not only looks more natural, it feels more natural. You can add as little or as much hair as you want. Only you and your hair loss specialist will know. In 2 sessions, he got back hair that looks, feels, and behaves so naturally. You can shower, water ski, do just about anything, even swim with your new hair.
I feel great about getting my hair back one step at a time.
I did it, and you can too.
Available exclusively from M&J International Hair Centers. Call now for a free no-obligation consultation. M&J International Hair Centers, 1-800-596-HAIR.
ACL sedan that you can lease for $199 a month.
Here is the Subaru Legacy L sedan that you can buy with up to $2,000 in savings. Both come equipped with features like four-wheel disc brakes, driver's side airbag, air conditioning, and power windows, mirrors, and door locks. So come into a Subaru dealer and test drive a new Legacy, like the one here that you can lease for only $199 a month. Or was that the one you can buy with up to $2,000 in savings? Anyway, you better hurry. This is a limited time offer.
A safari rarely lasts longer than a few weeks, unless it's a safari maintained with genuine AC oil filters, because over hill, dale and wadi, no other filter can track down, trap and capture more dirt. So, AC oil filters keep your engine in the hunt for a longer life.
AC Delco. It's like buying time. Now through September 30th, save up to $11.60 on AC spark plugs and filters.
Still the greatest city in the world. What better place for a great university? A university with distinguished alumni who include leaders in business, government, and the professions. A university which offers its graduates the opportunity for success and fulfillment. It's one of the least expensive private universities in New York State and the largest Catholic university in the country. Yes, the city is New York, and the university is St. John's.
We're back at Redmond Field on the campus of St. John's University. Barry Landers, along with Marty Lyons and Carl Roeder, and the host Redmond in this inaugural MAC Conference football game are trailing by a score of 14-6. Well, I want to remind you that we've got more football coming your way next Saturday when the Hofstra Flying Dutchmen, who lost this afternoon to Rhode Island 37-32, visit the Lehigh Engineers. They were winners today over Fordham 17-6. That game will be seen on Sports Channel on tape delay next Saturday evening at 7 p.m. Exclusive right here on Sports Channel. Well, down on the field, we've got Carl Roeder standing by with a former St. John star and a former teammate of Marty Lyons. Let's go to Carl right now.
Barry, you've got that right. 1984 graduate right here at Redmond Field and St. John's University, former New York Jet, Dennis Blige. And Dennis, it must feel good to come home.
Yes, it does. I've been on the road quite a bit. I did some extensive traveling in my new endeavor with Starter Sportswear. And I came home just in time to catch the kickoff for tonight's game.
You know, you're one guy that really proved you don't have to play big-time collegiate football. At this time, when you played, it was Division III here at St. John's. Made it, played 4 years with the New York Jets. You've got to have some great stories, I guess, inspirational stories that you can tell kids to say, hey, look, if you're good, they'll find you.
Well, Carl, my feeling has always been that football's a tough physical game on any level. If I have kids that come up to me nowadays and ask, well, what's it like to get hit by Lawrence Taylor? I can remember the toughest hit I ever got was a little Italian kid out here playing for St. John's University. And, you know, no matter what level you play on, if you play hard, tough football, you get in your books and do what you're supposed to do, you get out of school on time, there's room for someone like that in the NFL.
You know, you're talking about getting hit by a Lawrence Taylor or a little kid out here. We're the same size, and I don't want to get hit by you on any kind of a playing surface. What do you like coming back here? You get to reminisce a little bit? You walk around the field, talk to the coaching staff?
Yes, I come back, I meet some of my old teammates. I walk around the field a bit. The facilities are a little nicer than they were now. A little nicer now than they were when I was here, but you know, that's all par for the course. I love it here. We've got a new VIP section up here, I see, and the program is growing. They're 1AA now, and I wish them the best.
Before you go, I'm going to ask you one question. Former teammate of Marty Lyons, who's upstairs, you've got to have one good Marty Lyons story from your days with the Jets, and you're laughing. You must have it.
Well, I can recall being a rookie with the Jets and running scout team. And one particular week I was feeling good. We were about to play the LA Rams, and I was Eric Dickerson in practice. And Eric Dickerson is a top-flight NFL back, and I figured I had to give the defense a good picture. And I recall hitting up in the hole a couple of times pretty tough, and having Marty walk up behind me and grab me and say, hey, what are you trying to do, buddy? Make all Nicole Hempstead.
Old number 93 with some words of wisdom, Dennis Blige, and it's always fun to visit with you. I hope you enjoy the come here, the come back to St. John's and reminiscing with a lot of people here. Always a pleasure, and thanks very much for coming by.
Thank you, buddy.
Okay,
Good
Dennis Blige, thank you. And as I said, Dennis Blige, in 1984, graduate of St. John's, played 4 years with the New York Jets. Now let's go back upstairs to the guy that he told the story about, Marty Lyons, and of course, Barry Landers.
Oh, you can't believe that. You can't believe that. One thing I have to say about Dennis, he's just a tremendous person. He's very involved with the community, and he was an excellent runner. Spent some time with the Jets. Gave us a true picture every time we went out to practice. And when he got into the game, he gave it 110%.
Well, quite a story. Division III player making it, and of course, it isn't often that you get Division III players making it to the NFL. You had a wide receiver from Fordham who did a great job for a couple of years.
And Kurt Sohn, I think that if you have the determination and you have the ability, the big thing is get your foot in the door. And when Dennis got his foot in the door, as Kurt Sohn did, they took advantage of that opportunity. They didn't waste life. They didn't waste time. And they went in there, and they gave 110%. They'll never come up short in life if you give 110%.
No question about it. And Dennis played on some of those great teams in the early 80s with Mr. Jameson, Todd Jameson. Great rivalry, Hofstra and St. John's. Who could forget some of those great games, 81, 82, 83, when they were vying for top honors here in the East. And so we're just about set for second half action. Again, a reminder that Hofstra next week will be on Sports Channel against Lehigh. We'll have that one for you, and we'll have more St. John's football action coming up on Sports Channel. Thursday, September 30th, live and exclusive against Marist. You'll see that game. And then later on, October 23rd against Sacred Heart, November 6th at Georgetown, and November 25th against Stony Brook. By the way, Dick Laskowski, the former St. John's Assistant Associate Athletic Director, now out at Stony Brook, very happy. Stony Brook won today, beat Pace 20-2. And some other local scores. Wagner defeated Post 27-23. And Army over Colgate 30-0. And we're just about ready to go. St. John's getting set here for the second half. They will be getting the football and hoping that the momentum is swung after that late first half touchdown.
Well, I think Bob Ricker went in there and said, guys, let's go out there and approach this game as if it's 0-0, and let's start getting into a flow. Let's get Anthony Russo into a flow, and let's give Sharkey, our quarterback, some protection.
Now, Russo didn't have a great first half, had that 123-yard run, 10 carries for 50 yards. Sharkey was the leading ball carrier for the exception of a couple of sacks. Iadivio didn't have a great fast first half, only 3 receptions, 3 completions out of 12 attempts for Sean Sharkey for just 21 yards, but the big reception by Parker for the touchdown. Virgil kicking off, it's a short one. Iadivio at the 25 to the 30. Takes a hit from Jameek Adams, number 9, and he got popped by that freshman from Passaic High School. And the ball will be put in play at the 35-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10 for St. John.
And you like seeing your starting linebacker, number 9 Adams, on the special team. He comes up and pops the runner, knocks him back. But St. John's has excellent field position now on their own 35.
Redmond trailing 14-6. They've been a good second half team over the last several years. Last year they finished 5-5, finishing second in the Liberty Conference to Wagner. Now slot right formation. Working out of the eye. Sharkey, quick step drop looking for McPherson, incomplete, up and around the 45-yard line. And that will set up a 2nd and 10. Matt Nieder, number 16, the freshman linebacker on the coverage. Now St. John shuffling in plays as Gadis will leave, and McPherson coming into the ball game with the play. McPherson and Iadivio line up wide to the right. Art Costello in the ball game right now as they work out of a split backfield with Anthony Russo. Russo finds a hole, keeps driving to the 40, picks up about 5 on the play. It'll set up 3rd and 5.
And a passing situation right there. Sharkey's got to understand he's got to be patient. You don't want to create eye contact with your receivers, but if it's going to be a timing pattern, as we saw in the first play, take your 2 steps deliver the ball. If you're going to throw it 5 yards, make sure it's 5 yards. Give the receiver an opportunity to catch it.
You saw Jameek Adams stop Russo, the middle linebacker, on that last play. 3rd and 5. 5-man front facing Russo, or facing Sharkey rather, on this 3rd down call. On the keeper, Sharkey close to the 1st down at the 45. Looks like he has it. So a good design play right up the middle. They pick up perhaps the 1st down. Matt Nieder on the tackle. It will be enough for the 1st down.
Well, Sharkey right there audible to that. You can tell once you see that there's only one linebacker in the middle, they've taken the other linebacker out. You see that he audible. He takes it right up the middle. He holds on to the center, runs for 5 yards.
Frank Locascio, number 58, with that good block. Sharkey, little play action, rolling right, gets a block on Bryant. Throws wide open. McPherson, the 1st down inside the 45 and around the 42-yard line. Lou Zampella, the freshman quarterback, on this tackle.
Well, people can say what they want about Anthony Russo. Right there, he gave his body up to take out that outside defender, to give Sharkey the ability and the time to throw the ball. McPherson makes an excellent catch.
First catch of the night. He was originally a New York Tech golf scholarship performer when they dropped their athletics. He came over here. Fine golfer on the St. John's program, and also an excellent football player. 1st and 10 from the 41-yard line. Now they shift out of the eye. Here's Russo. Makes something out of nothing. They had him hit in the backfield. Kevin Lewis was in quickly. So they broke loose, and Matt Nieder, the outside linebacker, finally got him.
Well, Lewis hits Russo 2 yards deep into the backfield, but just the athletic ability that Anthony Russo has, he picks up 5. As we watch the play develop, watch Anthony Russo gets hit by number 58 right there in the backfield, and still shakes and bakes, picks through, picks up 5 yards.
He's the consummate slasher, great straight ahead runner. Picked up 5 on that play. St. John's trailing by 8. Sharkey to go to the air. Throws complete to his fullback. Short gain. Art Costello. About a 2-yard pickup. Lou Zampella on the coverage.
Well, right there, Anthony Russo. They kept it back in, buried for extra protection for Sharkey. Right there. Well, watch number 21. He goes to his right. He's got to go to the left. They got a double blitz on. Here comes 29 untouched to put pressure on Sharkey.
That was William Bryant, number 29, putting a little pressure on. 3rd and let's call it 4. 1-yard pickup on that last play. Sharkey gets a block rolling right on Lewis. Throws as he's hit. Throws it up for grabs. Latoro Yates looked like he was going to pick it off, but it goes incomplete as he went high in the air looking for the interception, number 6, as Frank Ball was also back there.
Well, watch Frank Ball, number 13, come into your picture. Sharkey should take the sack right here. He goes back. There's not a receiver open. Here comes the defender. He hits him. Take the sack. He throws the ball up into the crowd.
Well, a penalty on St. John's. Ineligible receiver downfield. St. Peter's will probably take the penalty walk-off. Would have set up a 4th down play. Talking things over with Latoro Yates. And we'll get their decision.
We have an ineligible receiver downfield. Backwards on line of scrimmage and covered by the end. Declined. 4th down and about 4.
So there you have it, loud and clear from Richard Stanley, our referee. Sean Sharkey now faced with a crucial 4th down play. Parker will come out of the game. McPherson checks in with a play from the sideline. Also in as a receiver is Cadiz.
And Bob Rickett taking his first big chance of the second half.
Russo lines up as a slot left. Single setback. Russo in a receiving position here. Sharkey looking. Has McPherson. And McPherson has the 1st down at the 30-yard line. Matt Nieder wrapped him up, but a good throw and a good catch by Tommy McPherson.
And that's the relationship you're looking for. Sharkey knows he needs 7 yards. McPherson knows he needs 7 yards. They run a 7-yard pattern. Quick throw to him. Picks it up. Sharkey knows exactly what he wants to do here. He takes a 3-step. He knows McPherson's going to be on the other side of that 1st down marker.
So a big 1st down for St. John's. 1st and 10 at the 29-yard line. Again, 2 wide receivers to the right, 2 to the left, single setback. Broadway lining up as a slot to the left. Sharkey with time, looking deep, looking for McPherson, and throws it away. He was well covered along the near sideline by Scott Maley. So that'll stop the clock with 11:29 to go here in the third quarter. And Redmond trailing 14-6. Bob Ricker going for all 6 points right there.
Well, the young freshman, Kevin Lewis, number 58, 6 feet, 229, is taking Anthony Farrar, who's 6'3", 234, and just jamming them every time back into the quarterback.
Second down and 10 from the 29. Sharkey to Russo, dancing, but won't get away, falls forward as William Bryant got a piece of him. Jameek Adams was also in, the two linebackers, along with Matt Nieder. Short pickup, setting up another big third down play.
And what they're doing now, Barry, is they're flip-flopping number 58, Kevin Lewis, from the right side to the left side. That time he lines up on the left side. Bryant comes up on the right side and closes the door on Russo.
4 minutes gone here in the third quarter. 10th play of this drive. Third and long for the Redmen here. Third and about 7. Sharkey on a long count. Little play action. He's in trouble. Gets away from Hicks. Throws incomplete as he was looking down at the 15-yard line for Dan Parker. And Matt Nieder was the defender on the play, number 16. And that'll set up a 4th and long situation.
Well, watch, here's the double corner blitz. You're taking a linebacker and a defensive lineman. You got Bryant coming in from one side. You got number 46, Hicks, all over Sharkey. Doesn't have an opportunity to set his feet to throw the ball.
Tom Gadis has checked into the ball game right now as a wide receiver, replacing McPherson, bringing a play in from the sideline. They've been alternating on every play. Well, St. John's with a 4th and 7. Sharkey on the draw. Russo will pick up the first down and more. Russo at the 10, down at the 3 or 2 yard line. It's goal to go. When you need the big play, the preseason All-American comes up with it.
When you need the big play, go to your big playmaker, Anthony Russo. As we watch the replay, watch Bryant, number 26. He goes inside, 29. He goes inside, leaves a big vacancy out there. Anthony Russo takes it around the corner, little shake and bake there, runs over a defender, takes it down, goal to goal.
Russo with 40 yards here in the second half. That big run, giving him a goal to go right here. And let's call it at the 1 yard line. Here's Russo, a flag on the play. I'm not sure if they got that play off in time. Illegal procedure, the indication against St. John's. And boy, that hurts when you're on the 1 yard line. And with 4 chances to push it in, you get pushed back to the 6.
Well, it doesn't really hurt him. It gives him a little bit more.
A dead ball. False start. Offensive line. Replay first down. 1st and 7.
It's better to have it on first down than third down, Barry. And right now, it gives him a little bit more field to work with. When you have a back that's strong, durable, and you see Anthony Russo getting stronger and stronger every play, he should be able to pick up 6 yards in 3 carries.
Russo scored 15 touchdowns last year, 41 in his career. Sharkey looking for the out pattern and incomplete as he threw to the far side. Iadivio, the intended receiver. And there's a late flag, could be roughing the passer. And that is the call by the referee, Richard Stanley. Might have been Jameek Adams.
Well, we talked about number 9, Adams, being a middle linebacker. Earlier in the game, he was waving at Anthony Russo. Right now, you see Sharkey, he delivers the ball right here. Comes in.
Foul, roughing the passer, half the distance to the goal, automatic first down.
Now, Matt Nieder was there also, number 16, might have been Nieder as we saw in the replay. So it's now back to the goal-to-go situation, 1st and goal from about the 3.5 yard line. Sharkey trying to punch it in here. Goes to Russo. Russo straight ahead off the right side of the line, down at about the 1 yard line. Danny Roman, number 70, with the hard hit. setting up a 2nd and goal situation.
Well, right now, this is gut check for St. Peter's. They've been out there a long time. St. John's came out, took the opening kickoff of the second half, and right now has controlled the ball for 5.5 minutes.
Goal to go from the 1-yard line at 2nd down. Iadivio winds up wide to the right. Everybody else in tight. Double tight end formation here. Here's Russo diving to the goal line and did not get in. Setting up a 3rd and goal. Well, they stacked that up pretty good, Marty, the middle of the line.
You're talking about great penetration by the defensive linemen. They're trying to get underneath the offensive linemen's leg, knock them down, create like a hurdle. If Russo's going to be successful, he's going to have to go up and over.
You see one of the injured players, looks like it, Frank Locascio, number 58, the starting center, 3-year starter. And he's up on his feet, we're happy to report, headed back to the huddle. 3rd and goal from inside the 1. And you see from our end zone camera, that's how close the ball is.
And you hate to see your center go out. Now it's 3rd and 1. That's the last thing you need is a fumble between your center and your quarterback. We got Irving going in there to replace number 58.
John Irving, a freshman, replacing the junior Frank Locascio, their most experienced lineman. There you look at the freshman on the snap here, and St. John's looks like they're going to call a timeout with 8:45 to go, facing a crucial 3rd and 1 situation. It'll give a chance to Locascio to come back into the lineup. Let's go down to the field, and here's Carl Reuter.
All right, Barry, you and Marty just mentioned how it's tough when the center comes out. Well, Bob Ricka realized that. He jumped at the situation, calling for timeout. He said, hey, listen, I want the timeout. I do not want to waste the snap this deep in territory when we're looking to punch one in. That's how much he wants him back in the ball game. Barry?
And no doubt, Carl, good call by Bob Ricka. And he'll have a chance to get to chat with his team right now. As you see the freshman Irving, he thought he was going to get a play right there, Marty.
Well, I think that's a good decision on Bob Ricka's part. They've controlled the ball for almost 6.5 minutes. They've driven down the field. This is their 16th play. You don't want Sharkey to go in there and pull out too early or, just have a fumble. Call it that momentum to shift back. They've been playing an excellent second half. They need to punch just one in.
St. Peter's dominated the first quarter, scoring their first 2 possessions to lead by a score of 16-0. As they got a 2-yard run from Rosso and an 18-yard TD pass from Guma. There's a look at Locascio from our camera on the sideline. Russo trying to punch it in, and no indication from the officials yet. Needed just about a half a yard, but he's in now. They give him credit as Russo able to punch it over his 42nd career touchdown as he's closing in on another record for St. John.
Well, that's determination, but the officials have to make that call like Quickerberry. You're talking about a half a yard. St. Peter's down there. They're down there. When the whistle blows, the momentum should stop. Right there, the officials have got to throw their hands up one way or the other.
Well, Roy Miller's club leading by 2. Bob Ricka appears that he's going to go for the 2-point conversion here. They probably discussed that in that last time out, Marty, what they were going to do.
Well, right now, this is a good decision. If you get the 2, you tie the game. If you miss the 2, a field goal will still put you 15-14. You can still win with 3 points.
All right, so the Redmen will go the single setback. Russo behind Sharkey, 3 wide receivers. Sharkey rolling right. Throwing, and will throw incomplete at the back of the end zone as he was looking for Tommy McPherson. Defending on the play, Lou Zampella. So the attempted 2-point conversion goes astray, but with 8:35 to go, the Redmen have crept within 2.
And it's a whole new ball game. You're talking about 3 points. A field goal can change everything. But you got to like the adjustments that Bob Ricka and the St. John's team made at the halftime. They came out, they took the attitude, let's start off. It's a new ball game. They took control of the clock, and they took control of Russo. Watch Russo right here. He gets the ball, and the determination. His momentum stops right there, Barry. The whistle should have been blown. His momentum takes him in. You see the players, they keep fighting and fighting and fighting, and it took 10 seconds for the referee to determine. I don't think that that's fair for either St. John's or St. Peter's. Let's make the decision right away.
He's quite a student, Marty, and his goal is to be an academic All-American. Has a 3.4 GPA in history. Here's the 2-point try for the extra point.
Well, we talked about Sharkey. If he doesn't get the protection from his running backs, he can't deliver the ball. There's McPherson. Even if he catches the ball, he's going to be out of the end zone.
Good coverage by Lou Zampella, another one of those good-looking freshman starters, one of 6 for the Peacocks, who led early 14-0. Now we should have quite a finish here. A lot of time left, 8:35 to go. John Ledwith to kick off for the Redmen. Johnson, one of the deep men, standing back at the 15. Also Canella. Johnson will take it at the 10. He's the speedster, the freshman. Gets by one man. And good coverage by the Redmen as he gets up to the 24-yard line. Steve Campbell, good-looking offensive guard playing on the special teams, brought him down. And St. Peter's puts the ball in play 1st and 10. As that last drive ate up a lot of time. 15 plays, 65 yards, over 6 minutes. And the key, Russo's 24-yard run to the 2-yard line. And he punched it over from inside the 1 to make it 14-6.
Well, we said if St. John's was going to get back in the game, you had to get Anthony Russo involved in the game. That drive, opening the second half, that's exactly what they did.
Well, let's see what Anthony Guma can do to the second half. He was sat on the sideline for quite a bit here, almost half this third quarter. He'll go on the ground to Pat Jakes. Had a good first half. And Redmond getting to the ball after Jakes picked up 4. Ray Lambright and Mike Margiotta combining on the stop. Jakes had a real good first half, Marty. He ran the ball rather effectively as he carried the ball a total of 8 times for 62 yards, almost 8 yards a pop.
Well, St. John's had to make some defensive adjustments, too. That front 7 was very soft. They were soft in the middle, soft through the sidelines. It'll be interesting to see how they come out. The offense just scored. Now come out and keep that momentum going.
Jakes and Rosso in the backfield. On 2nd and let's call it 8. Little play action. Guma rolling. Going out. Incomplete. Looking for the tight end, Ronnie James, who slipped out and could not come up with an attempted diving catch. That'll stop the clock and set up a 3rd and 8 play.
Well, Guma, if he's going to be successful, he's got to go back to set his feet. Right there, he's rolling to his right. He doesn't set his feet. He's got a receiver, number 18, Ronnie James, wide open. Watch, here comes the pressure late. He throws off balance, wobbly ball. There's James wide open in the flats, a drop pass.
James, who could be an outstanding wide receiver. He's an undersized tight end, playing a lot as a wide receiver tonight with the loss of Ray Marshall, who's out, the preseason All-American because of financial aid problems, not in the lineup. Big 3rd down play for the Peacocks. Trying to drill it for Johnson, overthrows him as Johnson was hit by Mark Bernardini, the safety, and the Redmond defense comes up 3 and out right here, and they're going to get the football back.
Well, right there, Gilman's looking at his receiver. It looks like there was a lack of communication, but now, we talked about it earlier, how durable is Gilman going to be? He's back to punt again.
Standing back at the 10. St. John's has a single man back. It's O'Leary. He's a speedy freshman. Plenty of time for Guma. Not very good kick, high in the air, but not very far. It hits a St. Peter's player downfield around midfield. It'll be blown dead. And good field position for St. John's. Trailing by 2 when we return. 7:33 to go here in the 3rd quarter. And it's St. Peter's 14, St. John's 12.
Funding a credit card you can expect more from is a simple process of elimination. First blow off all the cards with the highest rates. Then the ones that don't offer fixed or variable rate options, worldwide acceptance, and 24-hour customer service. And what about price assurance? Satisfaction guaranteed, purchase protection, and extended warranties at no extra charge. So, what's left? Chemical Bank MasterCard. If you have one, use it. If not, call 1-800-245-0880 to apply.
Your biggest competitor is working on a proposal for the same job you're after.
You want this to be enlarged?
They have about the same ideas you do.
Copy this slide.
The only difference is
Let's print it.
they own a Canon color laser copier, and you don't. Who would you give the job to? If you think you can't afford a Canon color laser copier, maybe you can't afford to be without one.
New York's authorized source for Canon office equipment, Leslie Copiers. For more information, call 1-800-LESLIE-9.
Back at Redmond Field, Barry Landers, Marty Lyons, Carl Roeder, and the Redmen Trailing by 2, going to have excellent field position up near midfield. Momentum really has seemed to swing back to St. John.
Barry, the Peacocks aren't going to win this game if they go 3 and out. 35 seconds for 3 plays. Now you give the ball back into a hot hand, give it to Sharkey, give it to Russo. Let's see what St. John's going to do with their second possession right here.
Now Russo's had a good second half. That big run King, the touchdown. Quick pitch here coming down to Iadivio. Gets a block and will dive forward to the 40-yard line. Great second effort by Anthony Iadivio. Scott Maley on the stop. But boy, he worked hard for those extra yards.
And what Sharkey's doing now is just taking 2 steps to throw the ball. Iadivio out there in the flats. He catches the ball and he picks up 9 yards. Watch the run right here, Barry. Takes 1 leap there. Great block by McPherson right there to free him up for 9 yards.
Second catch for Iadivio. 2nd and 1. And now they'll bring the chains in. St. John's asking for a measurement here. And they'll get it. That will stop the clock with 7:19 to go. St. John's trailed in this ball game 14-0. Totally outplayed in the first quarter as the Peacocks scored in their first 2 possessions. They scored late in the first half with just seconds remaining on a touchdown pass from Sharkey to Parker. Boy, that is close, isn't it? About 1.5 inches, Marty.
Well, now it puts them in a waist down situation. You can go back, throw for the end zone, and still come back and have 3rd and inches. It's 2nd and inches. Anytime that you got a first down, you pick up 8 and 9 yards. The second down is just a waste down.
Yeah, they'll spot it once again here with the new hash marks. 6 yards closer to the center of the field. Sean Sharkey, the senior, 7 for 21 now for 51 yards and 1 touchdown. Went off to that horrible start. He was 1 for 10, you'll recall, in that first half before he hooked up on that big play to Parker for the touchdown. See if they go to Russo here. Costello is in the ball game also as a running back. And Sharkey, good runner, will keep and easily get the first down to the 39-yard line. Don't forget the Redmen in action next week at Wagner. And they'll play at Siena on the 25th before returning home a Thursday night game, September 30th. You'll see it right here on Sports Channel, taking on Marist. Marist won today, and they're regarded as a real fine football team. They'll join the MAC Conference along with Duquesne next year as they move to an 8-conference league. First and 10 from the 39-yard line. 298! And whistles blow as Sharkey hands off. Delay of game penalty coming up. And that will cost the Redmen 5.
We have a dead ball. Delay of game. 5 yards. Bills first down.
So the ball moved back to about the 44-yard line. St. Peter's making changes defensively. Eli Roman coming out as they send in an extra defensive back. Not that many penalties tonight for an opening game. St. John's 3 penalties for 35 yards. St. Peter's 3 for 17. First and 15 for the Redmen, back at the 44. Russo. And gets to around the 34-yard line. Picked up about 10 on that play. Latoro Yates, the senior strong safety on the tackle. But Russo doing some nice running there.
And he shows very quick feet right here. He starts off to his right, cuts back to his left, picks up 7 big yards. Now it's 2nd and 7.
He's gone over the 100-yard mark once again. Boy, he's had a ton of games over 100 yards in his brilliant career. 2nd down, and let's call it about 7. Stay on the ground. Russo off the left side of the line to around the 32-yard line. He'll set up a 3rd down play. As he was brought down after a short pickup by Jose Rosado, number 36. Another freshman out of Union City, 5'9", 215-pounder. Here's a look at Jose. They call him the Rock. He was all Hudson County. He's a bodybuilder. Now Russo with 42 career touchdowns, 2 shy of the all-time St. John's record of 44. Third and 3 for St. John's with 5:09 to go. Third quarter trailing by 2. Russo off the left side. Look at that great second effort, that leg drive, Marty, as he gets to the 25-yard line.
Well, Russo pushes into his offensive lineman, and Barry, he's so small, everybody forgets about him, and he just keeps plunging and plunging and plunging. He gets hit at the line of scrimmage, and then he squirts for another 6 yards. Watch him run into his own offensive lineman right here. Runs, keeps his leg drive, squirts right through, sneaks through for another first down and another 5 yards.
Well, he's 5'7", 195 pounds. He's a mini fullback, really dressed in a tailback position. First and 10 at the 25. Great durable runner, loves the ball in the fourth quarter. And again, they'll stay on the ground to Russo inside the 25 to around the 23. Short pickup around 3 yards as he was brought down. And as they unpile, you see Lewis, number 58, one of the men in on the tackle. For Russo, it is the 20th time that he has gone over 100 yards in a game, Marty.
And he's very durable. You know, we're late into the third quarter, and Bob Rickett told us he's going to use him in the fourth quarter even more so.
Well, he just seems to get stronger as the game goes on. What plays in this quarter, St. John's 22, St. Peter's 3. Defense got to be wearing down. Sharkey rolling, has time. Now chased by Jameek Adams, gets away from Adams, and goes out of bounds out around the 17 or 18-yard line. Lonnie Cody ran him out, but he showed good ability to get away from a speedy Jameek Adams.
Well, Sharkey did an excellent job there. He's rolling to his right. He's going to throw the ball, but Adams comes running at him with his hands up. Adams made a crucial mistake. Come at him, be aggressive, try to make the tackle. Instead of blocking the pass, try to make the tackle. But give credit to Sean Sharkey for picking up another 7 yards, keeping the drive alive, keeping the momentum on St. John's side.
Sharkey's gained 49 yards on 12 carries, 3rd and 2 from the 18. Almost movement there. Russo off the left side had to get to the 15-yard line. It'll be close. Maybe inches short here. And looks like they're going to send the field goal unit on. Steve Diamikis is coming into the ball game, the freshman kicker from East Islip. Remember, he missed the extra point earlier, but with the ball directly in the center of the field, Coach Russo saying, I'm going to go with my field goal kicker. The ball is at the 16. The kick will come from around the 23. It'll be a 33-yard attempt for Steve Diamikis to put his team in front here. Kick on the way. The kick is up, and the kick is good. And Diamikis puts the Redmen in front, 15-14.
Perfect snap, perfect hold, perfect kick. This defense of St. Peter's has got to be very tired. They're very tired. We're talking 23 plays. St. John's has had the ball 11 minutes and 18 seconds compared to St. Peter's only having the ball 35 seconds.
Well, Steve Diamikis, who made some big plays defensively in the secondary, makes the big play with his foot right there. Comes out of East Islip High School. They've had a history of great kickers over the years. The Redmen take the lead on this field goal by Diamikis.
Watch, a perfect snap. He gets great lift on the ball and straight through the middle. There it is. Perfect hold. He keeps his head down just like you do a pitching wedge, Barry. And it's always going to get up.
Iadivio on the hold. Let's look at the sideline as they watch. There's Chris Cameron with his hands up. We remember Chris from Hofstra, the big offensive lineman, graduate assistant over here, doing a great job working on the offensive line with their coach, Fred Bruno.
And there was number 21, Anthony Russo, who's been a big part of this second half.
So the Redmen have come back for 15 unanswered points after trailing 14-0. But a lot of time left, 3:07 to go. Ledwith kicking it right to the 35-yard line, and it will be returned to around the 43-yard line. John Weisburn, the up man, returning that ball. So it'll be 1st and 10, and they'll have excellent field position, the Peacocks. But as you said, Marty, they just haven't had the ball here in the second half. That last drive, 50 yards, 9 plays, 4 minutes, 26 seconds, and Diamikis capping it on a 33-yard field goal to put St. John's in front. Well, again, St. Peter's looked sharp their first 2 possessions. They scored touchdowns, but they've been shut out ever since. 1st and 10 from the 43. Pitch to Cannella. Gets a block from Rosso, but he is taken down on the far side. Walter DeForest and Mike Margiotta. Margiotta showing some good speed at that outside linebacker.
Margiotta, give him a lot of credit. He came off that outside corner, closed it down. No gainer right there, -1. This defense is playing a little bit more aggressive this time, Bert. If you remember in the first half, the front 7, they were sitting back, catching the blockers.
Jeremy Walsh, defensive starting end, comes out of the ball game right now. Kuma, who at one point was 5 for 6, is now 5 for 10 for 79 yards, 1 touchdown. He'll keep it on the ground here. Cannella gets into the secondary, stopped at midfield. Nice run by Cannella, about an 8-yard pickup. Mike Margiotta stopped him, but Jose Cannella, the freshman with 4.5 speed, who has the whole package, they say. He's a 5'10", 180-pounder from Weehawken, brought down. They think he's going to be an outstanding runner.
Well, right here, this is a big 3rd down situation. Guma's got to pick up the 1st down. He's got to give his defensive squad an opportunity to get their feet back underneath them, to make the adjustments.
3rd and 4. Cannella staying in at the tailback spot. Rolling right, Guma looking downfield. He's got Ranieri open. Ranieri drops it again at the 37-yard line. You'll recall earlier he dropped the short touchdown pass 10 yards behind a defender. This time Steve D'Amicus was there, but Ranieri just simply couldn't hold on to the football.
And Ranieri's going to hear from St. John's. He was on the St. John's sidelines. Watch the pass. It's a perfect throw. Ranieri is not looking the ball in. It hits him. Watch the St. John's players. They jump all over him. The young man's going to go back. He's going to realize there's 2 passes he should have caught.
Ranieri, of course, filling in for Ray Marshall, the preseason All-American wide receiver, not in the lineup tonight because of a financial aid problem. This ball will be bouncing downfield. St. John's decided to let the ball roll. And look at this roll for St. Peter's. Down at the 2, maybe the 1-yard line, a 49-yard kick for Guma. So he couldn't do it with his arm, but he's really pinned St. John's back to the goal line with his foot.
Well, the defense has come out. You got to realize, Barry, the defense is tired. They went out and played the entire 3rd quarter. Their offense has only been out there for 6 plays, a total of 1 minute and 32 seconds.
Well, St. John's backed up to the goal line. The nose of that football almost on the goal line. They'll have to go 99 yards for a score. 1:19 left, 3rd quarter. And the Redmen, who trailed 14-6, leading it 15-14. And the handoff to Russo, straight ahead, trying to just move out and pick up some yardage there. Picks up a couple on the play. Here's Carl Reuter on the field.
Barry, I just came over from the sidelines talking with Anthony Russo after that long drive, and yesterday I said, Anthony, are you tired? He said, no, I'm not tired. He says, I have plenty of time to be tired tomorrow. You're talking to a guy that's a history major here at St. John's, carrying a 3.5 index, wants to go into teaching and coaching when his playing days are over here at St. John's.
He's quite a young man, emotional leader too. Back to throw for the end zone. Sharkey looking for McPherson, battling with Maley down the near sideline. St. John's wants a pass interference call. Bob Ricker looking at the officials, say, hey, there's got to be a pass interference call, but none made.
Well, McPherson wouldn't have caught the ball. It was well over his head. Bob Ricker's out there arguing a case that the referee will not even hear anything of.
Well, he was battling step for step with Scott Maley, another outstanding student, who's a 3.5 grade average, a tennis star at St. Peter's, won the MAC singles championship a couple of years ago. Sean Sharkey surprisingly airing it out from the end zone, Marty.
Well, they're trying to get some working space back there.
3rd and 8, let's call it from the 3-yard line. This time they stay on the ground, stumbling, tripped up. Good penetration by Bryant as Russo gets tripped up. And it'll be a punting situation, and Parker's going to have to punt with his back to the end zone here.
And Bryant came off that corner of the offensive tackle, hits Russo, just gets him off balance, just enough, because Russo's got the whole corner, would have picked up the 1st down and some.
Remember, St. John's has had 2 bad snaps on these punts. Let's see what happens here. There's our cameras. We watch Parker kick. This one is a perfect snap. Coming was out, it away. Kelvin Johnson at the 30. At the 25, at the 20. Johnson down at the 6-yard line. So they got it up to the 30, about a 24-yard return. And St. John's with their backs to the wall defensively here as St. Peter's, Kelvin Johnson runs it down to around the 6 or 7. Anthony Iadivio stops him. That's the end of the third quarter. Time out of the field. The Redmen lead by 1, but the Peacocks knock it on the door.
If you want rich, powerful, theater-like sound,
right here. It'll be 1st and 10 from the 6-yard line when play resumes.
And Barry, you heard St. John's, all the coaches yelling at the officials. They thought the Peacocks had 12 men on the field. They wanted to re-kick the ball.
Now Guma barking out the signals here on 1st and goal, trying to put his club ahead. Fake, and Canella bounces off a tackle to the end zone. He's in. Jose Canella, the freshman, with his first touchdown as a Peacock, and St. Peter's regains the lead 20-15.
Well, Barry, you hate to say it, but this offense is well rested. They only had 6 plays in the third quarter. Canella hits the hole and shows that second and third effort and picks up the first down and touchdown.
Roy Miller, whose club had the early 14-0 lead, wondering if he had Mr. Marshall in the lineup, would his club not have some more points? But right now, his club down by 5. St. John's will call, or St. Peter's leading right now, and they may go for 2. Maybe that's why they're calling timeout here.
Well, if they go for 2, then it's a 7-point game. If they go for 1, it's a 6-point game. A touchdown by St. John's, big difference, Barry. It puts St. John in a position where if they score a touchdown, they have to go for 2.
Well, you see Guma, as you said, he's been very busy. He's got the kicking shoe. He puts it on right now, that right foot. What do you think they called a timeout just to get his shoe?
I think that was a decision on Roy Miller. I think he was looking up and realized, okay, if we kick, it's only a 6-point lead. If we go for 2 and we make it, it's a 7-point lead. He says, hey, let's just put the points on the board.
Well, Kelvin Johnson will hold on this extra point try as Jose Canella, smart run, has put his team in front. Again, we emphasize the freshmen contributing for St. Peter's. They've got a great crew of freshmen. Ball down, and the kick is up. It is good. So St. Peter's, which had very little possession time in the third quarter, scores 5 seconds into the fourth quarter to take the lead. They'll still give the ball up here in the fourth quarter, but now leading.
Well, we said that they were well rested. There's Guma. He's going to put on his running shoes now. He's got the running shoes. He's got the kicking shoes. But right there, Barry, an offense that only produced 6 plays in the third quarter. Watch Guma. He hands off to Canella. Canella bursts. Look at the energy right there. He hits number 28. Bounces off him in for the touchdown.
Mark Bernardini, number 28, was the guy he bounced off of. He ran over him, the kid from Eastchester.
But watch the move right there. Bernardini comes up. He's got to wrap him up. Canella, just second, third effort, gets in there for a touchdown.
Well, he's got strong legs, great balance, and I'll tell you, talking to Roy Miller about him, he says this kid is going to be something. He's got the whole package. He's got 4.5 speed, explosive speed. We saw the leg drive there too, Marty.
Well, Barry, this has been a game of field position right there. You know, the Peacocks defense came out, made St. John's kick from their own end zone. Johnson set up a beautiful return, took it down inside the 10. They punched it in with 1 play.
All right, St. John's not expecting a long kick right here from Wayne Virgil, will be kicking off. And this surprises Broadway. He'll fumble the ball back at around the 10. Broadway to the 20. And he gets popped as he got across the 20 to around the 23-yard line. Louis Zambella, the freshman cornerback, laid a hit on him.
Zambella just said, hello. Boy, he laid Broadway out. I think Broadway's got to realize it's easier to run onto the ball than run back to it. Crucial mistake in the beginning. He should be deep enough to catch the ball. He goes back, he fumbles. But watch Zambella comes right here and hello.
Adams was also the guy that was in there, number 9. Boy, he's had a couple of crucial pops as well. So it's 1st and 10 for the Redmen, trailing 21-15, early fourth quarter. Here's Russo, and he is wrapped up at the line of scrimmage right there. Brought down for possibly no gain on the play by Matt Nieder. Well, the touchdown, one play, 6 yards. Cannella on the 6-yard run set up by the punt return of Kelvin Johnson. We've seen some pretty good hits in the last few minutes, Marty.
And you can see how this game is being played off in motion. Now the Peacocks defense, they realize they have the lead. You see Netter comes up there. He nails Russo for a 1-yard gain.
Second and let's call it 8. In trouble, Sharkey somehow gets away. He's at the 25, gets away again. As almost taking his head off that time was number 43, but Jameek Adams finally got to him. Cody looked like he was going to wrestle him down neck-wise, but finally Adams got him.
Well, as a former defensive player, you know, you give Sharkey a lot of credit, but watch the defense. They're headhunters this play. Sharkey comes across the line of scrimmage. He's a live player. Watch, there's 1, there's 2, and once Adams comes up, finishes them off. You got to like that enthusiasm. This is a young defense, Barry, with 6 freshmen. They're growing today.
Third down and long yardage, almost 7 for the Redmen. Play action, Sharkey throwing, and will throw. It'll be incomplete. Looking for Parker, the tight end, at the 42-yard line. Threw too low. William Bryant, number 29, from the linebacker spot, was putting on some pressure.
And the Peacocks, they came out, they played very aggressive for 3 straight plays. Sharkey he couldn't read the defense. He was scrambling every time. The last time he had a double fake, had Parker wide open. His feet were still moving, a wobbly pass.
So another punt coming here for the Redmen. Joe Parker to do the kicking. Will get this one away. And St. Peter's will watch this one bounce upfield. St. John's trying to down the ball as it took a St. Peter's bounce. Kurt Ditzler downing the ball. A short kick again, only a 25-yard kick. An excellent field position for the Peacocks.
And the Peacocks have to realize, let's not make any mistakes. Let's not beat ourselves. It's 21-15, 13 minutes to play. Let's take the ball, drive it down the field.
A reminder to harness racing fans that we will be joining Summer Racing 93 from Yonkers in its entirety as soon as the football game is included. And Gary Sussman, Frank Drucker, and Matt Lachlan with another big season of racing from Yonkers tonight, right after the game on Sports Channel. Guma looking to go deep for Kelvin Johnson. Tipped in the air, incomplete. As Kurt Ditzler was battling for possession step for step with Kelvin Johnson.
Well, just as we talk, the Peacocks would be a little bit conservative and work on the clock. You see Guma goes back and goes for the bomb right away.
Now they're picking on Ditzler a little bit, testing the freshman. They've thrown quite a bit in his area.
Well, Ditzler right there is in excellent position. He goes up, knocks the ball down. Johnson had an opportunity to catch the ball even when he was on his back.
So 2nd and 10 from midfield. With 2 minutes gone here in the fourth quarter. St. Peter's leading by 6. Here's the pitch to Cannella. Turns it outside, down the sideline, and will go out of bounds. Cannella showing the Jets as he is finally driven out of bounds by Donovan Frey, number 31, the left cornerback. Frank Ranieri, I think Marty threw a nice block on that play.
Well, Ranieri, he's having a hard time catching the ball, but what an excellent block right there to get Cannella all the way around the corner to pick up a first down.
Cannella now with 49 yards. And you see him being chased by Donovan Frey, the junior from Uniondale. Big first down to the 36-yard line. Guma to throw on first down. Throws, it's incomplete. Threw into traffic. 4 Redmen over there defending. Walter DeForest was one of them as he was looking that time for James. Mark Bernardini also in there, number 28.
Well, Bernardini comes over and closes the door right on the receiver right here. It's a loft pass. Bernardini doesn't even look for the ball. Head hunts on the receiver.
Bernardini, a young man out of Eastchester. And right now, James leaves the ball game. Guma is 0 for his last 7 in passing. 2nd and 10 now from the 36. Cannella, the tailback. Again, Cannella behind Rosso. Oh, runs into Ray Lambright. And Lambright, who's trying to battle back after breaking his leg last year in the first game of last season against Iona with a big defensive play.
And those are the type of play Lambright is used to making. They're starting to see the old Ray Lambright right there. He gets into the backfield, knocks down the running back for a 2-yard loss.
He was a dominant player 2 years ago, Marty. All conference as a freshman and sophomore in the Liberty Conference. A junior out of Flushing. 3rd and 12 now at the 38-yard line. Guma rolling. Throwing for Ranieri, and Ranieri this time, who's had trouble catching the ball, comes up with it, but shy of the first down. Donovan Frey was defending on the play. It'll set up a 4th and short situation.
Well, they always say, Barry, this is a game of inches. Ranieri goes up. He's missed an open pass for a touchdown. He dropped the pass for a first down. But look at him. He goes up very aggressive. He catches the ball, comes down, and he even jaws a little bit after he catches it with the defenders from St. John.
It looked like Chris Carew, number 41, was going to get to him, but he got the pass off. 4th and about 2.5, 3 yards. And they're going for it here. Biggest play of the game right now. Guma rolling behind Rosso. Throws. Ranieri trying to hang on to the football. He's got it at the 25-yard line. It should be enough for the first down. Mike Margiotto was defending on the play, and Ranieri shaken up after he hit hard on the play, but he hung on to the football.
Ranieri's trying to redeem himself. He realizes that, hey, I want my team to win. Look, he's playing in pain. You got to love a guy like this. He goes back to the huddle. He realizes he should be in there, and he's looking over at Roy Miller, and he's telling him, I'm not coming out, I'm not coming out, I'm staying.
3rd catch for 27 yards for the converted running back. Outstanding possession receiver. Doesn't have great speed, but he's got good hands. He's dropped a few, as we've seen tonight. 1st and 10 from the 24. They'll stay on the ground. Rosso for short yardage to around the 23-yard line. Ray Lambright and Mike Margiotto combining for the stop, along with Al Bruno, number 68. There's a look at Ranieri out of Hoboken. Again, give credit to Roy Miller for recruiting these youngsters from the Hudson County area. This was a St. Peter's team, Marty, that in '88 they had to drop the program for a couple of years. They just couldn't get enough kids to play. Roy Miller came in and turned the program right around. 7-2 last year. Facing 2nd and 8. Guma with plenty of time throwing over James's head. James hit hard by Diamikis as the pass was overthrown. Guma drilling that one over the head of Ronnie James, setting up a third down play.
And another touchdown right there. All he had to do, he's got a receiver wide open. James was right there on the end zone line. Throw it to him, deliver the ball, put your team up by a now. Instead of being 21-15, if possible 28-15.
James, known as a line underneath receiver, going deep that time. So it's 3rd and 8 for the 22. St. Peter's leading by 6, 10-16 to go, 4th quarter. Johnson lines up at the bottom of your screen, wide to the left against Frey. Guma looking up the middle for James. He's got it this time. Goal to go as he's down at around the 5-yard line. Steve Diamikis on the tackle, but Ronnie James coming up with his 3rd reception and a big 3rd down catch gives him goal to go.
And they go back to the same identical play. James just comes off the line of scrimmage, totally released, no defender bumps him. Guma goes back. This time he delivers the ball. And watch James. He makes sure that he catches the ball first. Now watch the determination. Gets inside the 10. And here comes the Redmen. They're just a little late.
All right, James will leave, and they'll go to a real tight end size-wise. Pete Lombardi, number 89, 6'2", 240. He'll come in as tight end. Johnson and Ranieri wide receivers. Cannella staying in as the tailback. Pitch to Cannella. Bouncing around and will not get much, maybe to the 5-yard line. St. John's getting good penetration from Ray Lambright that time. Also Steve Dombrowski on the play with Chris Carew. Haven't mentioned Carew's name too often. He's another one of the guys who was injured last year in the opening game. They're expecting big things from him.
Well, you know, you can come back from an injury and you can say mentally and physically I'm ready to play, but it's not till you get into the heat of the fight.
This will be the 11th play of this drive. Peru had knee surgery after getting hurt in that opener against Iona last year. Was out for the entire year. Second and goal from the 5. Guma in trouble, throws, and it's incomplete. He was being chased that time by Steve Dombrowski, and Kurt Ditzler was providing the coverage on the intended receiver, James. So the clock stops with exactly 9 minutes to go. And St. Peter's well within field goal range for Guma. And Guma comes in from the sideline. He had run over to have a word with Coach Roy Miller. Out over the ball comes center Kevin Young, working with Mark Malloy and Joe Segarra, the guards, Ed Corbliss and Carlos Dios, the tackle. Looking for Johnson, wide open as he defeats Donovan Frey easily on that play. And Calvin Johnson comes up with another touchdown catch. That's his second of the game. And the Peacocks have opened up a 27-15 lead.
And a timing pass right there. Guma just goes back. He knows Johnson's going to do an out. He takes 3 steps, delivers the ball. Johnson goes up and makes a tremendous catch, brings it down. Now it's 27-15 with less than 9 minutes to play.
Now Guma trying to get that shoe on. He's got the kicking shoe on. Very busy man. He's passed for a couple of touchdowns. Guma's kick is up, and it is good. And the Peacocks now lead it 28-15. Timeout on the field will return with the Redmen trailing by 13. You're watching St. John's football on
Super.
Donovan Frey beaten on the play.
We take another look at it. Look at that. Johnson just goes up with tremendous hands. There's a little bit of taunting going on right now.
Once again, a third look, Marty.
Well, we know the ball's going to be delivered. He just goes out there. The defender has to come up. You got to realize you only have 8 yards to deal with, and then you're into the end zone.
And St. John's will get this at the 31-yard line, 35-yard line. Tom Kilfeather covering it up. So it'll be 1st and 10 for the Redmen. They are now, Marty, down 13. And this take Anthony Russo a little bit out of the game with 8:49 to go.
They definitely take Anthony Russo out of the game. Anthony Russo is going to be used now as a blocker. You're going to try to protect Sharkey. You're going to try to get the ball to McPherson. He's the big playmaker. Anthony Russo, they may give him the ball every now and then just to freeze the linebackers.
1st and 10 from the 31-yard line. Now Russo will get the call here, trying to pick up the first down. Got popped as he got about 9 yards by Chanique Adams. But you got to like the way that Adams, 6 foot, 212-pound freshman, has been hitting people tonight. Got a nose for the football. He's been in on some good pops.
And Anthony Russo runs with his nose straight to the ground. He's a grinding horse. We're into the 4th quarter, and he still runs with the same determination that he had in the first.
129 yards on 25 carries and 1 touchdown tonight. 2nd down and about a yard. Sharkey, quick out here to Jadis. Jadis trying to get the first down. Got a couple of yards, just barely got the first down. Matt Nieder all over him. Matt Nieder, one of 3 players from Miami, Florida. They recruited Darren Garcia and his brother, twin brothers, and they got Nieder. That's far try to come up to St. Peter's in Jersey City, Marty.
Well, Jadis picks up the first down right there, keeps the drive. Now look for Sharkey to go back. Russo is out in the slot position. Look for him to be in the pattern this time.
7:57 to go. Sharkey chased by Lewis, fumbles the football, and Lewis will down him back at the 31-yard line. Kevin Lewis was chasing him, and Sharkey bobbled the ball. That is a big loss of about 12 or 13 yards, Mark.
Well, Sharkey's seen number 58 a lot, Kevin Lewis, and also number 29, William Bryant, all afternoon for the Peacocks. They've been in the backfield quite a bit.
Well, we mentioned the speed that this defense has. Kevin Lewis, their quickest lineman, and Bryant, transfer from Nebraska on that same side of the field. He's got great speed. And Sharkey now facing second and about 20 from the 33-yard line. Need a big play here. Russo trying to feel his way along the line. It's reversing his field. Got away from Roman for a moment, but Danny Roman got enough of a piece of him. There's a flag on the play. After the play was over, Jameek Adams jumping up and down in joy, but Danny Roman, who Marty mentioned, bench presses 450, got a piece of Russo and he wouldn't let him go.
It all starts with the handoff. There wasn't a clean handoff between Sharkey and Russo.
See about that penalty.
We have a dead ball, personal foul on the defense, automatic first down after 15 yards from the end of the run.
Well, facing second and 20, you get stopped at the line of scrimmage. Now you pick up a first down. St. John's, real fortunate there, Marty.
Well, it would have been 3rd and 25, 3rd and 27. Watch right here. There's Russo. Not a clean handoff. He's going down. Roman's got him by the leg, and here's a late hit. I question that. He didn't even make contact with Russo. That's home field advantage.
Here's Sharkey on his home field rolling, faking. Adams can't get him. And he's down as he gets close to the first down and around midfield. Brought down by Matt Nieder. Sharkey with a nice run as he was able to elude the initial surge by the defensive player.
And we should note, Barry, that unnecessary roughness or unsportsmanlike conduct is not always a hit. Right there, it could be the taunting that the Peacocks are doing. It could be something verbally said out on the field.
Good point to be made, Marty. 2nd and 1, 6:20 to go. Clock moving. St. John's trailing by 13. Out of the eye. Sharkey will get the first down, still going. And Sharkey tripped up as he got to the 43-yard line. And Latoro Yates, a Division II transfer from Virginia State, transferred to St. Peter's last year, a hard-hitting, strong safety on the tackle. He's the half-brother of Ray Marshall, by the way, who's not playing tonight. All-American wide receiver. Sorry you're not getting a chance to see him play. He's a dandy, we're told. St. John's running with a quick huddle. Russo tries the left side, trying to turn it outside. Maley chasing him, and Maley with a fine tackle runs him down after a 17-yard pickup.
And Anthony Russo, the one thing, he's well aware of where the defenders are coming from. Right there, he breaks through the line of scrimmage, picks up the first down, and as soon as he gets to the outside, the first thing he does is what you teach kids in Little League, switch the ball to the outside hand. He still hasn't forgot that. That's why he's so durable. That's why he's so successful.
Maley showed his good speed running him down. 1st and 10 at the 26-yard line. 5:50 to go. St. John's needs points, and they need them fairly quickly here, trailing by 13. Russo lines up in a wide receiver position here. They'll go on the ground this time to Robert Tirado, and he'll pick up just a couple of yards. The big freshman fullback stopped after picking up a couple of yards. Setting up a 2nd down play. Clock ticking. That's an enemy of St. John's right now. Divio and McPherson are the wide receivers. Russo will line up in a slot right. Again, single setback. Looking Sharkey, looking for Russo. Instead goes to the short man, Parker, and Parker cannot hang on. Setting up a 3rd down play.
And Sharkey delivers the ball perfectly right there to Daniel Parker. Parker, number 81, has got to make that reception. We're late in the 4th quarter. His team's behind by 13. And you heard Bob Rickett at halftime. Our receivers have to catch the ball. Right there's a perfect example of lack of concentration.
Well, Sharkey, who had some great games late last season, only 8 for 24 for just 53 yards in this game and 1 touchdown. Well, some of his receivers have dropped passes, but it has not been a good night for Sean Sharkey, who generally has had great opening games in the past against Iona. 3rd and 8 here. Rolling left. Looking for Russo. Instead finds Parker. Parker to the 3-yard line. Both Russo and Parker were out, similar on the previous attempted pass, and it was Parker this time hanging onto the football.
Just great play action, great play calling by Bob Ricker right there, because Anthony Russo goes through the line of scrimmage. He fakes. Sharkey goes back. He finds the receiver. in the dead zone. Daniel Parker, number 81, picks up the first down. Now it's 1st and goal, and we're at the 5-minute mark.
Dan Roman puts some pressure on the quarterback. Brian Monahan in the ball game as a wide receiver. Here's Sharkey trying the keeper. Oh, is he upended as he dove to the goal line. And it was Frank Ball who got a piece of him right there, along with William Bryant. Boy, Bryant showing his athletic ability on that one.
Well, you love to see a quarterback with the determination. He's a senior. He's a leader. He wants to win this game. Watch the leap, the determination, just a little bit short.
Back to the live action. Russo carries for the touchdown. However, there is a flag on the play. St. John's was trying to get a quick play off. Let's see if the play will count here. Russo trying to get a second touchdown of the evening. Not sure if the line was set there. St. John's indicating on the sideline that it is a touchdown. Sharkey talking it over, and it appears to be in St. John's favor. Clapping you saw of Sean Sharkey.
We have encroachment on the defense. That's refused. We have illegal participation on the defense. 12 men. That will be accepted and pressed on the kickoff, and the touchdown is good.
You know, St. John's ran a quick play, and it seemed really to fluster St. Peter's as they didn't get the time to get the right alignment in.
And they were trying to make player substitution there, and they got caught with 12 men on the field, which is an encroachment. There's 12 men again. You see a referee throwing another flag. And that'll all be tacked on to the kickoff, which should give St. John's excellent field position.
Now, don't go away. They trail 28-21. This to make it a 6-point game. Roy Miller looking on from the sideline, his club's lead. He's saying, what's going on out here? All of these flags thrown against my boys.
Well, I think all Roy has to do is go out there and start counting how many boys he's got out there, and he'll find out he has 12.
No, they don't have a big squad. Roy Miller's kids are tough, they're quick, and they play aggressive football. They played well tonight. They lead by 7. Diamicus to try to cut into that lead here. DVO the holder. That's 32 to go. We'll see from our end zone camera. Good snap. And Diamicus perfect as he drills it straight through. Another flag, however, on that kick, Marty. Let's see if they bring it back. Now the kick is good, apparently. It apparently is on St. Peter's once again.
St. Peter was offside that time, and of course, penalty declined. There's that hurry-up offense. Watch Russo, the determination. He's low to the ground, center of gravity. He just pumps, gets in. Now he's only 1 touchdown short of that record, Barry.
And with that 6 points that he picked up, now the all-time scoring leader going ahead of Dennis McDermott, the brilliant wide receiver. Russo now with 260 points in his career. And he's going to hold just about every record. He has a chance to be the all-time leading rusher in NCAA history in any division, Marty. Started the year with over 4,200 yards rushing.
Well, you got to enjoy watching a young man like this. For 3 years, he's had the determination. Been the MVP of this squad for the last 3 years. And if he can stay healthy, of course, he's going to be in the record book. It's a long season, though.
You know, his durability is the thing that really stands out. He wants the ball 30 to 35 times and has not missed a game. He started every game in his career here at St. John's.
Well, the way the offense started off tonight, he's going to have to carry the load of the offense. He's going to have to carry the ball 30, 35 times for them to be successful.
Sharkey has not had a good night passing. And it was Russo on a couple of big runs that has really pulled his team out of a...
12 men on the field, on the touchdown. We have set it on the kickoff, 15 yards.
Now this kick will come from midfield now.
And we talked about field position for St. John's. The kicker should be able to put it into the end zone right here, which is going to back up St. Peter. And there's only 4 minutes and 32 seconds left. St. Peter's going to have to do something with the ball.
You'll recall a couple of years ago on Sports Channel, we televised the St. John's Iona game. They came up with a dramatic victory in the last seconds. John Ledworth, a freshman kicker, kicked a field goal in the last play of the game to give him a victory.
Well, St. John's is not in that situation this time. They need a touchdown to win.
And speaking of Ledworth, he kicks the ball into the end zone. He's never been able to follow up on that brilliant start here in his career at St. John's, but that kick will move the ball to the 20-yard line. And it's up to the St. John's defense to come up big. as that last drive, 11 plays, 68 yards, a little over 4 minutes. Russo with his second touchdown, a 1-yard run to bring his club within 6, 28-22.
Well, both teams with 2 timeouts. The Peacocks, they're going to have to pick up 2 first downs to win this ball game.
All right, let's see what Mr. Guma can do here. Anthony Guma. 1st and 10 at the 20-yard line. Canella trying to spin away, stopped as he got to the 22-yard line by Ray Lambright. Trying to be that dominant player once again. Out of Bayside High School, Ray Lambright with a good hit. Gain of only 1 on that play. Guma 9 for 23 for 117 yards. So neither quarterback has had what you would call any kind of a decent night as far as percentage completion, but their clubs right now locked in a 6-point ball game. 2nd and 9. Guma rolling right, in trouble. Will get it off, looking for Kelvin Johnson. Intercepted by the freshman Ditzler, who's been burned all night. Ditzler down the sideline. Stopped as he gets inside the 20. So they picked on first Ditzler one time too often as he picked off the pass intended for Kelvin Johnson.
And Ditzler was just out there. You can feel the electricity. You can feel the motion in the crowd right here. Ditzler just comes up with the biggest play of the game. And give a lot of credit to number 47. Walker DeForest, he comes right in there, distracts Guma. Guma has to throw it up for an interception. Watch Guma goes back. Watch 47. DeForest comes in, he distracts him. Guma just throws it up. Ditzler goes back. Excellent catch. And then watch the running ability after the play is over.
29-yard return for Ditzler. The Redmen knocking on the door here. Trailing 28-22, 3:38 to go. They go inside, and Russo straight ahead, inside the 15 to around the 13, a pickup of around 5. Latoro Yates, the strong safety, brought him down. As the clock continues to tick, and the Redmond crowd again up on their feet, hoping for St. John's, which has been a tradition of coming up with fourth quarter finishes, hoping they can do it again. Parker lines up as a tight left end. Jadis and Iadivio flank wide to the right. On 2nd down, Russo dancing, gets away from one, bounces off another tackler, then goes out of bounds. It'll stop the clock. Yates finally got him out of bounds, and that will stop the clock with 2:56 to go.
And this could be the Russo show for the final 3 minutes. Bob Rickett knows what this young man has done in the past, and he knows that if he's going to win this game, hey, let's get it to my best player. Let's get it to the MVP of last year, the year before, and the year before that. Let's get it to Anthony Russo.
3rd and 2. Will they go to Russo, the preseason MAC Player of the Year, preseason All-American? They need 2 yards for the first down. Long count. Sharkey to Russo. Russo shoved back as he hit the line of scrimmage. Nieder, number 16, getting in very quickly. It'll be shy of the first down. And here we go, Marty, with undoubtedly the biggest play of the game. 2:40 to go, and the Redmen facing a 4th and about 1.5 yards.
And Nieder just comes up and levels Russo. Now we're down to 4th and 2. We're under 2.5 minutes to play. We have a timeout by St. John's. They're going to go over and discuss it right now. This is the game right now.
Good hit by Nieder, who's an impact player. We'll take a look at the hit, stopping Russo shy of the first down.
Well, you see Russo, he's got that low center of gravity. Anytime he has to run east to west, he's giving the defenders a lot of time. There's Nieder, comes up, and he just drives them backwards.
Young man, as we mentioned, from Miami, Florida. Well, a reminder to harness racing fans that we will be joining Summer Racing 93 from Yonkers in its entirety. We'll show it to you as soon as the football game is concluded. Gary Sussman, Frank Drucker, and Matt Loughlin with another big season of racing from Yonkers tonight, right after this exciting game on Sports Channel. Now, Bob Ricca has made the decision. We'll find out what happens. Bob Moltisanti, the offensive coordinator. 2:33 to go. St. John's 4th and 2 from the 9-yard line. McPherson checks into the ball game. And you see Sean Sharkey not had a good night passing. Will we go to the air here? What do you think, Marty?
I think I go to my bread and butter. I give Anthony Russo another opportunity. He's run for 145 yards tonight. I'd give him another opportunity.
3rd and 3 on 4th down conversions. They've been. He throws, and it's got it complete at the goal line to McPherson at the 1/2 yard line. Tommy McPherson coming up with a catch. It's goal to go.
Then again, I would find McPherson down by the end zone, deliver a perfect throw, and let him try to score.
The free-spirited kid who's got a knack for getting behind guys got behind his man there.
There it is. Watch Sharkey goes back. He's very poised now. McPherson catches the ball, comes down short of the end zone, picks up the first down, though.
Well, it'll set it up predictably for Russo perhaps here. Only the second catch for McPherson. 2:09 to go. Russo. Touchdown!
And you talk about the taunt. Now the players are going back. We talked to Carl earlier about all the people from St. Peter's that came over. They were heckling Anthony Russo, but it was only the first quarter. Anthony Russo was determined he's going to go back and point to the fans too. What's up, boys? What's up?
44th career touchdown, tying the school record. 3 touchdowns tonight for Russo. They've been all short runs, and now the extra point. And there is Russo. He's a little bit of hot dog in him, but he's well-deserved. He's a kid that works his butt off.
You're right. You know, it started off slow, but this is a very, very big extra point. It's 28-28. Let's not lose the fact that there's still a ball game.
Diamikis to try the extra point to put St. John's ahead. It looks good. There is a flag, however, on the play. The extra point is good. And let's hold everything here.
What's up? How you doing? Hey, Dad.
Lou Zampella, number 23. The flag will be called on him, Marty. The extra point is good. And the Redmen have stormed back for 2 quick fourth-quarter TDs.
Defense lining up the neutral zone is declined. The try is good.
We still have 2 minutes to go for Anthony Guma, but we've had a dandy finish here, Marty, coming down to the wire.
Well, the difference is St. Peter's, they have to score a touchdown. Watch Russo right here. He just comes outside, gets an excellent block. He goes in. Very smart play.
He saw the initial hole was stuffed up, took it to the outside.
Costello does an excellent job collapsing the defensive line. That gave Russo a golden opportunity to get in for a touchdown.
Marty, the great runners see the field, and Russo is an intelligent runner. He'll run over you, but he saw there was nothing in the initial play and just broke it out.
So as we saw earlier, though, Barry, he's only as good as that offensive line, and you got to give credit to Art Costello and all the running backs that were back there blocking for him. This offensive line that struggled early in the game, gelled, came back, made the adjustment in the second half, and came out. Remember, Barry, St. Peter's, they only had the ball for 6 plays in the third quarter. The defense got worn down.
Absolutely. And remember, St. John's was held without any points in the final 30 seconds of the first half. They were being shut out at that point, 14-0. And then Parker caught a touchdown pass to make it 14-6. Redmond took the lead, then fell behind, and now they lead by 1. 29-28. What a great opener for MAC Conference football. Ledwith with a long kick, and Canella will take it at the 3-yard line. The speedster gets by a couple of guys down at the 20-yard line. St. John's with excellent coverage. It was Kurt Ditzler, the man who made the big interception in return, who stopped him on the return. Russo's 1-yard run, capping that 5-play, minute and 35-second drive set up by that Ditzler interception and 29-yard return. And right now, the St. Peter's offense with 1:57 to go, trailing by a point. So they've just got to get into field goal range here. Over to throw. Batted in the air, knocked down. DeForest coming in, getting a piece of that ball. Ball Wilder DeForest out of Florida, a kid who played his high school ball in Connecticut. Excellent quickness, they tell us. The transfer from the Nassau community making a big play.
Well, Guma, when he goes back, he takes 3 steps, a front 7, and look at the height that DeForest gets up and knocks it down.
6'1". 3 touchdowns for Anthony Russo. And another big night. He was held to just 50 yards in the first half, but he's sitting on a 146-yard night right now. Second down. Guma chased by DeForest again. Throws on the run. Incomplete. Ball could not be held along the far sideline. Kelvin Johnson, who's had a couple of touchdown catches, could not hang on. Sets up a 3rd and 10 with 1:47 to go.
And we know that Guma is an excellent athlete. He's the baseball catcher. He's got a great arm. He's got to get a receiver deep, Barry. They need 10 yards. It's not like they need 5. It's a 2-down game now.
Boy, here's where they really miss a Ray Marshall. And Roy Miller wishes he had Marshall with that 4.4 speed in the game. But again, he's not in the lineup. Out because of a problem with financial aid. 3rd and 10. Johnson, just a freshman. He's been their go-to guy. Guma again in trouble. Chase. He'll have to run. Throwing on the run. Ball is deflected. It'll set up a 4th down play. Great coverage downfield and great pressure put on Chris Carew, chasing him all over the field. The outside linebacker, number 41.
And now Guma realizes it's 1 down. It's the game consists of 1 down. If they don't pick up the first down, the game is over. If they pick up 10 yards, the game will continue.
We mentioned St. John's has had a string of exciting victories in openers. They've beaten Iona 10 straight years in openers. Every one of those games, wild and wacky games. Harold Crocker's club wishes they could have won a few. 4th down. 4th and 10 from the 21. Guma stepping up and will be sacked. Ray Lambright coming up with a big play along with Steve Dombrowski. They got pressure up the middle and they forced the play. There was a flag, however, on the play. St. John's whooping it up. See if the penalty is against St. Peter's. Officials are conferring. St. John's defense staying on the field for the moment. Maybe against the Redmen.
We have a dead ball fall after the play, 15 yards on St. John's, but it'll be 1st down and 10 for St. John's.
After the play, so St. John's gets away, probably some kind of a personal foul, but they will retain possession because the penalty occurred after the play. So Bob Ricca not happy about the penalty, but happy that his defense stopped them on 4 straight plays, and they take over. All they have to do is run out the clock for the next minute and 34
Well, it's only appropriate that Ray Lambright gets that last sack. He made a tremendous recovery from a devastating injury, a career-ending injury, came back, played a very strong game today, showed great leadership.
Now that broken leg, he's still not the dominant player. Sharkey fumbled that snap. Oh my, shades of Pisarcik. Of the New York Giants against the Philadelphia Eagles many years ago. Joe Pisarcik. The Giants were trying to run out the clock. St. John's retains possession. Clock set back in motion. 2nd down and 10. The Redmen trailed in this ball game on several occasions. 14-6. They trailed 28-15, have come back with 2 touchdowns to take the 29-28 lead. Hope you're enjoying St. John's football. First of 5 you'll see on Sports Channel. This time Sharkey puts his knee down. And looks like St. Peter's will quickly call a timeout to stop the clock with exactly 1 minute to go.
And it's been a very exciting game to watch and very exciting game to call because it's hard hitting. When Sharkey was struggling, Russo came in and took over. When the defense was struggling, the offense took over. But I really think as we look back and try to evaluate the game, we saw 2 good teams hurt themselves. In the 3rd quarter alone, when you have your offense out there for 6 plays, you cannot win. But give credit to St. John's. St. John's came out and took control of the ball in the entire second half, and especially in the 3rd quarter.
Sean Sharkey, whose club has taken the lead right here. And a reminder that the Hofstra Flying Dutchmen take on the Lehigh Engineers. Both clubs losing, by the way, today. Next Saturday, you'll see it on tape delay on Sports Channel at 7 p.m. exclusively here on Sports Channel. St. John's with a minute to go as they look to open the season with a victory in this inaugural MAC Conference League game. Sharkey will hand off, and Russo off the right side picks up about close to 150 yards. And timeout taken by St. Peter's. That will stop the clock with 54 seconds to go. And Marty, if this is an indication of what we're going to see in MAC Conference football throughout the year, Rich Enzer and the rest of the people associated with the MAC have to be pleased. Great football game.
And very exciting. They had two teams tonight. And you go back to the interview we did with Bob Rickett early this week. He said, you know, when I had to evaluate St. Peter, I didn't know what they were going to bring to the table. He says, I don't even know what my own team will bring to the table. I think he learned a lot about a lot of his players. They do have heart. They do go out there and play for determination. And they played for 60 minutes tonight.
These were two teams that were preseason favorites to win the conference. I want to thank Mike Booty. Great job spotting for St. John's, and Greg Landers, my son Greg, doing another job. Hal Sass, our statistician. Thanks to Tim Camp from St. Peter's, Sports Information Director, and of course Frank Racanello at St. John's. And to Jack Kaiser, our host athletic director, for his cooperation here at Redmond Field. Fourth down. Sharkey, 4th and 7. Will run, wants to stay in bounds, and does go down. He's chased by Adams. Clock will stop as they change possession here. 48 seconds. St. Peter's hurrying onto the field. Once that ball marked in play, the clock will start once again. So it's not over yet, Marty.
Well, 48 seconds and no timeouts. They're going to have to run a lot of out patterns. They're going to have to be in a hurry up. But remember, all they need is a field goal.
Now here's where they really miss Ray Marshall.
Give me the ball. Come on.
Virgil lines up as a wide receiver. Lane Virgil along with Kelvin Johnson. Wide to the left. Single setback. Guma to throw. Has time. Now stumbling. Will be down. Once again, Steve Domkowski, who's played a strong game as a tackle inside with Ray Lambright on the sack.
And what takes so long now, you got your receivers all the way downfield. When your quarterback gets sacked, they got to run all the way back.
Now he'll just down the ball to stop the clock with 28 seconds. That really hurt him. Now, St. John's coaches unhappy. They are chanting, as you heard, that's a new rule. You can't do that. There's a guy who can do what he wants on the field. Hard-working Anthony Russo. Well, a lot of the big schools says he couldn't play at a higher level. Maybe doesn't have that explosive breakaway speed to break away. But here is Guma just throwing it away as he was in all sorts of trouble. They want a grounding. Bob Ricca shouting on the sideline along with a couple of the coaches. Pressure put on that time by Michael Cotter. 4th down, and here we go once again to another big 4th down play.
You gotta love Bob Ricca. He's really into this game. He's in that referee's ear on every single play. He knows that with 22 seconds in his years of coaching, he's seen stranger things happen, and it's going to be interesting to hear if they hold on to this game, just what he's going to say to Carl.
Well, he's looking for win number 93. Great record. Guma in trouble. Throwing over the head of his intended receiver, and that will do it. He was looking for Pat Jakes. He got pressure from the backside. And give credit to the St. John's defense coming up here in the 4th quarter. Michael Cotter that time was chasing. And Bob Ricca's club with 17 seconds to go just has to run one more play.
And that's a sign of a good team when you can go in at halftime after playing a very disappointing first half and make the proper adjustments to come back and win the ball game. It's not whether it's 1 point or 10 points. They came out and they were very competitive the second half.
And remember, they were down 28-15, Marty, early in the 4th quarter. They've come back, as we saw Hofstra last week against Butler.
Right, with less than 6 minutes, they were down by 13 points.
Now Sean Sharkey will just kneel down, and they have I believe, no timeouts left. And the Redmen of St. John's win the opening game of the MAC Conference with an exciting 29-28 victory. The extra point by Diamikis turns out to be the margin of victory. As this one is over, Roy Miller a little bit concerned that his club could not hold on to the lead, but a gritty effort. Bob Ricka and Roy Miller will have some outstanding rivalries, you could bet, in the next several years as they play in MAC Conference football. But St. Peter's a club a lot of people didn't feel could play at the level of St. John's, perhaps played an awfully strong game with the absence of Ray Marshall. And Bob Ricka and Carl Reuter are getting ready down on the field, and we will go to Carl Reuter right now.
All right, Barry, what did you just say?
I said it's all in the script, Carl. You know the deal. First game of the season. It's not Iona this year, but typical St. John's comeback.
It's a comeback win. They were gritty. They put forth a great effort, your team, but I don't think it was a good football team for you guys.
Both teams played with a lot of heart. Both teams.
Oh, they did, without question.
Neither team gave up. It was a sloppy first game. Okay, but you know, when push came to shove, we had a little more. Big play, Dixler, the freshman, big interception.
You really controlled the ball in the third quarter. You had it for about 12 minutes there, that long drive.
Well, in halftime we talked about it. You said, what was our adjustment? We said we're going to adjust with offense. We're just going to control the ball.
What was the difference there, Coach? Because they were pushing you around there a little bit. What was the offensive line adjustment?
I think conditioning had a big factor, really, sincerely. They're a lot bigger than we are, and I think they wore down a little more.
All right, did you begin to panic at all? You're trailing by 13 with about 6.5 minutes left. What's your thinking? I mean, obviously there is concern. You're losing the football game.
There's a lot of concern, obviously. We just told our kids we're not going to let. We felt we had momentum, and we let it slip through our hands, but we didn't feel that punt. And we said we're not going to let a mistake cost us this game. They're going to have to beat us. A mistake will not cost the game for us.
The last two defensive stands by your club were outstanding.
Inspired football.
Knocked down footballs at the line.
The kids had a lot at the end. They really gave everything they had, and at the end they still had a lot of gas.
Is it tough for a coach to keep their heads in the game? There's a lot of frenziness going out on there because it is the first game of the season.
First game of the season, young kids, we played some freshmen and all. Hey, it turned out all right, though, so we're happy.
If Sean Sharkey isn't a senior, he's probably not in the ball game at the end because he didn't play all that well, but he did make the big plays when he had to.
It was a combination of things. Receivers could have helped him out a little bit in the first half, but he made a lot of tough plays, Sean. I'll give you that. He showed a lot of heart, and he's a comeback kid. He's proven before that he can come back. He can be spotty, but come back in the fourth quarter.
Anthony Russo.
Hey, Anthony Russo, what can you say? Tough. That's all you can say about Anthony Russo.
What'd you say to Coach Roy Miller? Because you did pay tribute to St. Peter's here. They put on a great effort. He's done a great job with the program.
Certainly has. Hey, 1 point difference. What can you say? Great ball game. Great college football game.
A win is a win?
A win is a win, and, big win.
All right, Coach, congratulations on win number 1 this season, and good luck the rest of it. We'll see you down the road.
Okay, certainly, Carl. Thank you.
All right, Coach Bob Ricka, the Redmen walk off Redmond Field with a 29-28 comeback win over St. Peter's. When we come back here to Redmond Field in Jamaica, New York, Barry and Marty wrap it all up right after this timeout. Stay with us.
This man's hair loss is starting to become noticeable. He was hoping it would never happen to him.